the magician in the world of Doraemon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 326. The protagonist, blackened. Doraemon did not deny this, yes, because in the future, most props will be subject to great restrictions, so the government will not pay much attention to them. When the three of them got on the airship, Yu and Azzy had no intention of getting on. What's wrong, Yu and classmate? Don't you want to go? They looked at him on the airship, waiting for his answer. No, I just have my own way to go. You go first, I will get there before you. Doraemon wanted to say something else, but was stopped by Gian. It's okay, believe him. He said he would get there before us, so he will definitely wait for us there. Doraemon didn't say anything else and started the airship directly. After all, saving his brother is the most important thing now. Looking at their backs flying away, a grey cloak appeared on Yu and Az's body. They have already set off, so we can't fall behind. Darkness emerged from the side, wrapped him up, and disappeared with the wind. Outside the prison, the darkness gradually condensed into a figure. When he came to the prison, he first scanned the entire prison with his mental power. Doraemon was in a desperate situation, because the shackles on his tail exposed their position. Yu and Azzy wanted to go over to help, but he saw Nobita approaching quickly, so he gave up the idea. At this time, he was of course more interested in the heavily guarded control center. At this time, Yu and Azzy also saw the robots working the night shift under the island through his mental power. Endless work, coupled with the guards of the Hound robots, made it impossible for them to rest. Even if they fell down, because they were unable to bear the high workload, no one would sympathize with them. In return, they were only given a bucket of dirty water by Instructor Dunper and the mocking expressions of the mechanical ants. Moreover, after being splashed with water, you have to force yourself to smile and say thank you to that person. Otherwise you will be considered to want to resist and be deducted food that even dogs don't eat. There was no scolding in this process, and all the supervisors were smiling all the time, but people couldn't feel a trace of warmth. Taking these scenes into his eyes, Yu and Azzy silently gave his own evaluation. This place has no value at all. According to the map scanned by his mental power, Yu and Azzy slowly walked towards the control center. A few seconds later, Nobita had defeated the ant robot and began to untie Doraemon and the others. Great, Nobita. Now that the treasure bag is back, let me get rid of these shackles. Modify the gloves as you like. Doraemon took out a glove with 10 fingers and began to modify the shackles. Although everyone didn't know why he could use this kind of glove, because his fingers were loose when he used the Superman gloves before. A welding gun split the round shackles in two, and he was finally free. Then Doraemon looked at the iron block and sneered. Humph, he actually dared to give me such a big gift. I have to give him back. Doraemon continued to modify the shackles with his gloves, and then threw them into a trash can. Instructor Dunper was in the command room. Because the nearby surveillance was destroyed, he had to pick up the radar and search in person. In the end, his radar helped him lock the trash can. Instructor Dunper put away the radar, smiled and pulled out the electric baton, and walked towards the trash can. You actually hid in the trash can. Then I will smash you into scrap metal according to your wishes. He opened the lid of the trash can and was about to smash the electric baton down. But what he saw was not a robot, but the shackles tied to Doraemon's tail. The spherical shackles turned around, with Doraemon's expression painted on its face, and stuck out its tongue at Instructor Dunper. What? It turned out to be this thing. What a waste of my time. Just as Instructor Dunper was complaining, the bomb that Doraemon transformed with shackles exploded. When the smoke cleared, Instructor Dunper lay on the stone, and his white instructor uniform became tattered because of the explosion. Damn you, when I find you, I'll tear you to pieces. Instructor Dunper lay on the ground, powerlessly venting his anger. You looked angry just now, didn't you? A childish voice came from behind. Instructor Dunper reluctantly raised his head and looked behind him. He saw a slightly weak figure covered in a grey cloak appearing in his sight. TSK, it turns out you're a kid. Why are you here? Forget it, go away. Uncle doesn't have anything to play with you. And as he walked in front of him and stepped on his hand with one foot. You were angry just now, didn't you? Ah. My hand. He struggled violently on the ground because he felt that his hand was about to be crushed. He had no sympathy and increased the strength of his foot. As an instructor who teaches others to be grateful, how can I be angry? Don't you think so? Seeing that he couldn't escape for the time being, Junpei had to follow his words. No, that's right. It's all my fault. I shouldn't be angry. And as he took off the hood on his head and showed a bright smile. Since you know it's your fault, shouldn't you accept the punishment? After saying that, he stepped on his foot again and crushed it several times. It was as if his gloved fingers were broken by the crushing. Junpei felt a sharp pain flash through his body and then completely lost consciousness. TSK, you are usually very fierce to robots. Why can't you be so fierce to yourself? Looking at the instructor who had fainted, and as he poured a big water bowl to wake him up. After he woke up, and as he imitated his expression just now and asked condescendingly, where is your thank you? Why didn't I hear you say thank you? He spoke with difficulty. Why do you want me to say thank you to you? I spent so much effort just now to crush your hand like this, to teach you not to get angry. Shouldn't you say thank you to me now to express your consolation for my hard work? Instructor Junpei turned his face away and ignored this pervert. Let him do whatever he wants. Seeing that he stopped talking, and as he lost interest, since you don't want to thank me, then go and die. As soon as the words fell, flames surged from the inside of Instructor Junpei, burning his body clean, without a trace of pain, and without leaving any trace. Oh, my mental state seems to be a little wrong. And as he put away his magic power, and he seemed to be affected by Shizuka. Because he didn't have any negative emotions during the day, he just did it for fun. But now the inner disgust allowed the negative emotions left in him by Shizuka during the day to take advantage of the opportunity to enter, which led to the current situation. The nearby worker ants also found that something was wrong here, and they quickly surrounded this side. But soon he was relieved. Forget it, let's just leave it like this. It's not bad to take this opportunity to clean up the negative emotions. And as he still had a smile on his face. In the gratitude prison, of course he had to smile to teach them gratitude. He put on the hood, and the dark star cloak changed with his mind. The costume of an ancient general of the Celestial Empire appeared on him, and as he drew the sword at his waist. I spent a lot of effort to dismantle yours. Remember to say thank you. A black light flashed, and a large number of worker ants were cut in half like wheat. During this destruction process, and as he gradually moved towards the central control room. Not long after, he came to the central control room and looked at the buttons on the screen and worried, how should I use this machine? Forget it, I'll just blow it up later. So he, who didn't understand future technology, left a third level magic fire explosion here and then walked to the robot rest area below. Everyone listen up, this unreasonable prison is about to collapse. Now, everyone should release your resentment. As he said, and as he detonated the magic left in the central control room, and the protective layer on the dormitory was instantly disintegrated. The barrier is gone. Are we really free? Seeing that the prison was about to collapse, the robots immediately got up from the bed and started the largest riot in the history of this prison. And as he looked at the robots rushing to the entrance below, and the smile on his mouth couldn't help but expand. Destroy as much as you want. This will be my last carnival. Chapter 327 The Final Struggle. At this time, Nobita and his group of robots have returned to the ground. Old man Gigi looked at the starry sky and was extremely excited. It's great, we really escaped. Gigi and Popo Lan hugged each other, looking like a grandparent and grandchild. After relying on each other in prison for several months, they have already developed a strong relationship. Just when everyone was ready to leave here in one go, the huge ant statue in the middle suddenly moved, breaking free from its shackles and waking up again. The ant looked at the robot escaping below with a mocking expression. Everyone stepped back a few steps and prepared to fight this enemy. On the distant watchtower, Majime looked at Nobita and his group with a remote control. A worker ant escaped from the ant nest casually, and this is his fate. The director looked down and locked the doors on both sides with the controller. All of a sudden, the entire square was completely closed and turned into a gladiatorial arena with no escape route. Then Majime controlled the ant and stomped on the ground below. Everyone felt a shaking of the ground here, as if even the island could not withstand the power of the ant robot. Seeing this, Doraemon and several robots were horrified. Damn, such a big ant stone statue. Could it be a robot? Do you think you can escape? Majime saw them from the ant's perspective through the goggles on his eyes. Let me show you how powerful my electric eyes are. Just as they were dodging the ant's footsteps, the ant's red eyes suddenly emitted a burst of lasers. No. Everyone, get out of the way. Doraemon pushed Nobita away, and the lasers passed by them. Fortunately, no one was injured. But the lasers increased their burden, and Nobita and his men were gradually forced into a desperate situation. Then the huge robot seized the opportunity and picked up Nobita and Doraemon. Majime saw this scene from the watchtower and smiled. You cheap robots, just die. The two stone balls of the ants gradually closed, trying to crush Nobita and Doraemon. Doraemon went all out, holding the ants' hands with both hands to prevent them from closing. I will never let you hurt Nobita. Although Doraemon had been transformed, his body was too limited and could not be compared with the combat robot. Just as the distance between the two ants' hands was getting smaller and smaller, a shock bomb fell from the sky. I heard what you said just now. A place like this doesn't deserve to exist in this world. The bomb in the sky exploded, emitting a puff of smoke. The ant robot was also shocked, causing it to loosen its hands. Doraemon drove the spaceship and caught Nobita and Doraemon in the air. Great, Doraemon, I knew you would come to find me. Doraemon parked the spaceship on the ground, opened the hatch and hugged Doraemon. That's great, brother. I knew you would be fine. Junfei also hugged his teacher. Teacher, I'm sorry. I've always been too naughty and troubled you. The teacher was also relieved to see that his children had finally grown up. It's okay, I'm the one who should apologize, and I will definitely teach you well in the future. Damn it, what can I do with helpers? Majime immediately took control of the statue again. I will crush you useless robots. Just as the statue was about to be controlled again, the locked door was suddenly kicked open by someone. A stone slab flew out from the wall and fell heavily to the ground. Behind the door were countless robots with red eyes. They immediately set their sights on the ant statue. It's this damn ant. Everyone, come together and tear it down for me. The robot army climbed up from the ant's feet and gradually covered its entire body. At the end of the robot army, a boy in armor was slowly walking forward. Gian and Aski, you really got here before us. Chumushin immediately recognized his figure and ran over to greet him. Doraemon and Nobita approached Majime. Hurry up and return the phone booth. This deformed world should not exist. Majime saw that his robot was defeated, and a bad premonition surged in his heart. Is he also facing failure? But he quickly calmed down and looked at Nobita and Doraemon without fear. You want me to return the phone booth? Of course. Neither of them expected that the villain would agree so straightforwardly and couldn't help asking, are you serious? Of course it's true. Majime took out a comb and combed his ant-like bangs. As long as you can defeat me, I will return it to you. After saying that, he shook his wrist, and the iron comb instantly deformed and extended, transforming into a giant sword of 1.2 meters in his hand. Then he smiled evilly, jumped high and slashed at Nobita and Doraemon. This is the sword blade I specially asked to be made with the latest technology. Now you two come and die. What? Nobita and Doraemon were startled, and then hurriedly left their original positions. The metal blade chopped on the roof, and the sword energy it brought up split the area in front into two. This is the first time I use this sword, and its power really didn't disappoint me. Majime pulled out the blade, and looked at Nobita and Doraemon like a winner. Doraemon was not to be outdone, and took out his own sword-shaped weapon from his pocket, the famous sword Dianganwan. Majime smiled disdainfully, stood on the roof, and pointed the blade at Doraemon. With that toy in your hand, do you think you can compete with my sword? No matter what, we will definitely defeat you and restore the world to its original state. Doraemon stood up this so-called toy and looked at his opponent with full concentration. I will not be defeated by you. Our clan is destined to prosper forever. Majime took his sword and rushed towards Doraemon, and Doraemon also used Dianganwan to meet the enemy. The two staggered their figures, and in a flash, the special sword cut off the edgeless Dianganwan. I told you, your things are just toys after all. Majime put his sword across Doraemon's neck, intending to chop off the loser's head. Just as he was about to kill Doraemon, a white sharp blade flew from the air and landed between the two. Under the influence of the great sword, Majime quickly jumped away. Whose sword is this? Littering is not a good habit. Dekisugi came to the roof and drew out his famous sword. Ungang, what's the point of bullying the two of them? If you have the guts, come and fight me. In the past few days, he has absorbed a lot of mental power, and his strength has more than doubled. Now his mental power has completely surpassed and as his physical strength, and reached the strength of 4 bulls. Moreover, the soul stone has not been absorbed yet, so his strength will continue to grow, which also leads to his lack of control over energy. So he needs an opponent to let him adapt to the sudden increase in power, and this guy is a good opponent. What, are you kidding? You want to compete with me? Majime seemed to be insulted and picked up his great sword to chop at Dekisugi. Dekisugi also raised his famous sword Yasatsuna, and the sword collided in the middle of the roof, and the airwave completely destroyed this area. Majime's hands trembled slightly. The huge force just now was not even blocked by his sword. What kind of strange power is this? Is he really just a child? What is that sword? A series of questions flashed through his mind, and then he began to deal with the opponent's blade. He never dreamed that the technological sword he was proud of would be suppressed by a white sword that seemed to have no mechanism. Nobita and Doraemon were stunned watching from behind, especially Doraemon, whose mouth could fit a Nobita. Majime and Dekisugi's weapons exchanged again, and then they found that they could not retract their swords. Because Majime's giant sword was cut in half by Yasatsuna, now the weapons of the two were stuck to each other, and it was time to compete with strength. Chapter 328 Huge Harvest. The people on both sides were constantly increasing their strength. But in terms of strength, even with the bonus of weapons, Majime could not compare with Dekisugi. He held Ungang's hand and pulled the giant sword out of Majime's hand. Then he gave up using Ungang, rushed to Majime, and punched him in the face. Being hit head on by Dekisugi's fist, this warden who was looking for an opportunity to make money finally had his sinful life ended here. Looking at Majime lying on the ground, Dekisugi said calmly, "We have won. Can you return the phone booth to us now?" In order to save his life, Majime had to agree. "I know. I'll take you to find it." Nobita and Doraemon finally got up and looked at Dekisugi, who was drawing his sword, with disbelief on their faces. "I always thought that only Eiji was a master of swordsmanship." Small science, Japanese samurai swords are also called swords. Doraemon also nodded. "I didn't expect Dekisugi to know swordsmanship." Sure enough, geniuses can only be together with geniuses. Zyadishin broke Majime's sword and took back his Horcrux. The warden also stood up and took them to the place where the phone booth was hidden. Majime knew that under the current circumstances, he had no chance of turning the tables. The giant ant robot was destroyed, and his biggest support was also dismantled. He could not see any hope, so he could only honestly lead everyone to a room and open the hidden locker inside. "If the telephone booth is here, I will take you in." After the door of the locker was opened, the colorful light almost blinded and as his eyes. The grooves under this room were all full of diamonds. He took this opportunity to roughly count them. There were probably tens of thousands of diamonds in it, and each diamond was large. So he walked to the end silently, letting others go up first, intending to take this opportunity to collect some good things. When and as he walked into the room, with every step he took, his mental power rolled up a few fist-sized diamonds. Then, while everyone was not paying attention, he stuffed it into his cloak. "Anyway, this world is going to disappear, so if you hide something secretly, no one should find it, right?" When Majime finally turned around, and as he stopped his behavior, Nobita put away the telephone booth and prepared to restore the world to its original state after returning. But he still said unwillingly, "Hey, wait a minute, are you really willing? If the world changes back, you will be scolded again." Nobita silently glanced at and as he behind him and nodded. If he didn't make up his mind to change back, he might not see the sun tomorrow. And what that bastard and as he said was right. If he was really good enough, who would scold him? After putting away the phone booth, everyone went back from Doraemon's pocket one by one. When everyone returned to the 20th century from the time machine, Doraemon once again took out the phone booth. Everyone in the scene stood by, waiting for Nobita to take this last step. He walked into the phone booth under everyone's gaze. I want this world to return to its original state. The rules of the world changed again, and this time Yu and Dazi and the others did not feel uncomfortable. After all, they returned to the original rules, and they didn't stay here for too long. But Shizuka was different. He was happily preparing to spread negative emotions tomorrow, but the rules of the world suddenly changed back. And most importantly, the energy he had spread before was considered as music by the original world, so it was cleaned up by the way. Are you kidding me? I spent an afternoon spreading the whole town. I'm just waiting for the harvest tomorrow. So, I still lost a lot today. Shizuka lay on the table and cried. After saying goodbye to Nobita, they returned to their homes. While Dekisugi was washing up, Yu and Dazi quietly took out a diamond. These dozens of diamonds that are as big as my fists are the real harvest. Shizuka came up and saw Yu and Dazi grinning and silently moved 2 steps to the side. Is this guy's brain really broken? Yu and Dazi thought while talking. It's past 9 o'clock today, and I guess Kodama Yoshio is off work now. Let's go find him tomorrow. Shizuka was packing up and suddenly thought that they didn't seem to know what today's homework was. Dazi, this is bad. We don't even know what today's homework is. Yu and Dazi looked at the textbooks on the desk and stood there in silence for a long time. Since we don't know, let's just write them all today. Dekisugi looked at the 5 exercise books next to him. Are you serious about what you said just now? The two of them looked at each other, and at this moment, they both saw the fighting spirit in each other's eyes, and then picked up the homework and pencils at the same time. Yu and Dazi challenged him. Then let's see who will finish first. This time the bet is tomorrow's breakfast. Is that okay? Shizuka grabbed 5 pens with his mental power. Of course, that's settled. The number of pens they used was the same as the number of homework books. Now it depends on who has better calculation and control ability. It took them nearly an hour to finish the 5 homework books at the same time. In the end, Yu and Dazi lost to demolition by 1 minute. Well, it seems that I'm really worse than you in mental arithmetic and multitasking. Yu and Dazi accepted the result happily. Then they put all the homework back into their school bags and went back to bed to sleep. After all, there were not a lot of things to do today. They were busy from afternoon to evening and had no time to rest. The next morning, Yu and Dazi bought breakfast as agreed and went to school together after breakfast. Yesterday's homework was within their expectations, and there was no sketching assignment. Demolition collected all the homework and handed it to the teacher's desk, and there was nothing else to do. But Nobita was miserable because he didn't do his homework yesterday, so he was called to the corridor by the teacher. Standing in the corridor, he felt a little indignant. This is unscientific. We are all taking risks in the future. How can they know what the homework is? So Nobita took the opportunity to slip out of the teaching building and came to another office building. I don't believe that Yu and Dazi and Imushin would actually do their homework. He found the teacher's desk and opened their homework. A few minutes later, an autistic student rolled back from the office building silently. After the 2 classes in the morning, Nobita was finally allowed to go back to the classroom. At this moment, Sunia and Fat Tiger were discussing something. You see, I said that everyone in the class has their own specialties, right? Sunia nodded. Yes, I said the smartest one in the class. Fat Tiger also said shamelessly, I'm the strongest one in the class. Yu and Dazi and Imushin looked at them and said from the side, we will just watch from the side. You can continue to brag. Don't think we are here. Then Fat Tiger and Sunia were nearby, arguing about who was the most handsome in the class. Nobita heard this and suddenly said, how boring it is to argue about such an issue. Fat Tiger and Sunia heard Nobita's ridicule and immediately turned their guns against him in unison. Anyway, no matter what aspect it is, Nobita is definitely the worst. That's right, Nobita can't do anything. Of course he can only be jealous of us. Ha ha ha. Nobita was helpless against their ridicule because he didn't know how he could surpass them. At this time, the teacher came back. Students, stop making trouble. It's time for class now. Hurry back to your seats. Chapter 329 Absolutely correct statistics. After returning to his position, Nobita was in a daze at his position, thinking that he must find the most fair referee to judge this matter. After thinking about it, there is only one person who can do this. That is his good friend Doraemon. After school, Nobita immediately returned home and told Doraemon about his request. Unexpectedly, the blue fat man waved his hand and refused. What do you want that thing for? I don't want to discourage you. Nobita became even more angry after hearing this, and he must complete his goal. It's really hateful. Even you don't believe me? Hurry up and take out that thing. The blue fat man put his hand in his pocket helplessly. If you want a fair judgment, then use this thing. An absolutely correct statistical chart. A pure white chart appeared in his hand, which looked a bit like a chessboard. Doraemon explained, as long as it is written on this table, the statistical result will definitely not be wrong. Great Doraemon. Now I'll go and ask them to gather in the open space. Nobita ran out after he finished speaking. Doraemon had no choice but to go to the open space first. However, unexpectedly, Yu and Azzy and Deku were also in the open space at this time and seemed to be trading with some people. At this time, Yu and Azzy was facing a man in black and said, "Have you sold all the goods I gave you some time ago?" Doraemon immediately smelled the breath of danger and quickly hid behind the wall, quietly waiting for their next words. The man in black was very respectful. "Yes, the boss has sold all of them. The boss is very satisfied with your batch of goods." Zyadishan looked at his briefcase. "Is this the payment you brought?" "Yes, a total of 847 million. Please come and count it." The man in black opened the briefcase in front of them, and it was all 10,000 yen. The blue fat man was shocked by this data. 840 million. What did Yu and Azzy do? He quietly stuck his head out and began to peek at the situation on Yu and Azzy's side. "I saw several men in black suits put many suitcases in front of them, and there were countless 10,000 yuan bills in them." Doraemon was so frightened by this scene that he dared not breathe, fearing that he would be discovered by them and be killed by those two people later. Yu and Azzy did not count the bills himself, but moved his fingers, and the bills began to move by themselves, turning up one by one. After a while, the bills did not continue to turn, and Yu and Azzy exchanged numbers with Demushin and nodded. "The count is complete. There are indeed 84,700 bills here. The number matches." As soon as the voice fell, several suitcases disappeared from the ground in an instant, and were collected by Azzy into the space of the cloak. "Welcome to come again next time." The man in the black suit nodded, and then left here quickly. Doraemon saw that we had completed the transaction, and hurriedly left here quietly. As soon as he turned around, a voice came from behind. "What did you see here?" Doraemon's heart tightened, and he slowly turned his head to see Demushin looking at him with a smile. He quickly reached for his pocket. "No, I need to calm down. If there is only one Dekisugi, we can still escape." At this time, another voice sounded behind him. "Did you see something you shouldn't see?" Doraemon. Doraemon recognized the voice of Yu and Azzy. Now that these two people were attacking him from the front and back, he was doomed. He leaned against the wall, trying to give himself a little more sense of security. But he also knew that in front of these two people, there was no chance for him to touch the four-dimensional treasure bag. "No, I really didn't see anything. I just happened to pass by here. Please let me go." Azzy and Zyadishan looked at each other, and then suddenly laughed. "Look how scared you are. This is not something shameful." Yes. Why are you so nervous?" Dekisugi also waved his hand, indicating that it was not a big deal. Seeing the sudden change in the atmosphere, Doraemon was still a little bit unbelievable. He just survived like this? So he decided to give it a try. But what can be worth 840 million? Yu and Azzy smiled and said, "We found an ancient ruin some time ago, so we went to dig for treasure." Zyadishan also nodded. "Just now someone came to give us the money from the sale." Doraemon was still worried, but this doesn't seem to be very formal. Just after he finished speaking, two murderosaurs locked on him. Yu and Azzy drew out his sharp blade with a dark face. "Then for the sake of safety, we should get rid of you." No. I know. I will never say a word." After he begged for mercy, Yu and as he retracted the blade. Okay, why did you come here? I don't believe you came here casually. Doraemon had to take out the absolutely correct statistical chart and told them what happened. Yu and Dazi and Dekisugi also came down. It looks pretty good. When they get here, I will also compete with them. They lifted Doraemon to the center of the open space and waited for Nobita to call people over. A few minutes later, Nobita brought Fat Tiger and Sunia to the open space. Hey, why are you and Daisy and Dekisugi here too? They couldn't help but ask this question when they saw two people who were not in the plan. Yu and Daisy still had a smile on his face because we heard about the absolutely correct statistical chart, so we also want to see how big the gap is between us. Fat Tiger and Sunia immediately became interested. Is that so? That's good. Let you see where we are better than you. Doraemon touched his forehead helplessly. He really didn't want to use this statistical chart to attack these people. If they just competed among themselves, it would be fine, but they had to compete with these two hanging on the wall. They didn't know how to live or die. So Doraemon took out the first statistical chart. Okay, what are you going to compare first? Fat Tiger clenched his fists. Is there any need to say? Of course it's strength. Doraemon wrote down strength helplessly and then wrote their names on the horizontal line below. After a few seconds, the statistical chart displayed our strength in data. Nobita is the weakest, with only 2 bars of power, Sunia has 4 bars, and Fat Tiger has 8 bars. But what everyone didn't expect was that Dekisugi's power was actually 10 bars, so it seems that Xiaoshan's power is greater than Fat Tiger's. As for Yu and Daisuke, his power has broken through the limits of the table and reached a state where it cannot be counted. What? Even Dekisugi's power is greater than mine? I don't believe it. Fat Tiger was very dissatisfied with this result and began to protest to Doraemon. But even if you say so, the statistics in this table are the facts. Doraemon's persuasion was ineffective, and Yu and Daisy had to go up and put an end to Fat Tiger's impotent rage. Sunia also came out to act as a peacemaker. Then let's switch this time. Now let's see how good looking it is. Fat Tiger gradually calmed down and folded his hands. Well, no matter what, I must be the most handsome. No matter what you say, I won't be ranked last, right? After all, there are Fat Tiger and Sunia at the bottom. Nobita also felt a little relieved. A few seconds later, the statistical chart appeared. Nobita still has the lowest score, with only 1 grid. Fat Tiger has 3 grids, while Sunia has 5 grids. Yu and Daz's looks are 8 grids, while Dekisugi's looks are a perfect 10 grids. Damn it, I don't believe it. I'm not as handsome as Dekisugi. Fat Tiger and Sunia were completely furious this time. Chapter 330, Getting Rich Overnight. Yu and Dazi kicked them both to the ground. Such an obvious thing. You still don't admit it? Chumashin was a little reluctant. Dazi, don't use force casually. Nobita next to him silently stepped back a few steps to avoid being affected by the fight later. I don't believe it. Now let's count the intelligence. I want to see who is the smartest. The 2 children still refused to admit the reality, so the blue fat man had to take out another statistical table. When the results came out, the 3 of them were unconvinced. The lowest was still Nobita, 2 grids, Fat Tiger 3 grids, and Sunia 4 grids. Chumashin and Yu and Daz his lengths were also the maximum level of 10 grids. Damn it, I don't believe it. How can they be that smart? Seeing the 3 of them standing there in impotence and rage, Yu and Dazi nodded in agreement. Yes, this statistical table has some problems in terms of intelligence. Doraemon didn't believe what I said. Impossible. This statistical table is definitely not wrong. Based on the objective facts of the game last night, in terms of intelligence, Dekisugi is a little higher than me, so I said that this table has some problems. At this time, the table received his suggestion, and Dekisugi's row broke through the upper limit and reached 11 grids. Yu and Dazi nodded in satisfaction. Well, that's right. Your statistical chart is quite human, and you actually accept other people's suggestions. Doraemon opened his mouth wide, and the style of the painting changed to One Piece in an instant. The others finally couldn't stand it anymore, and found a pen to write and draw on it. Sunia has always been concerned about his appearance, so he added himself to the first place in the appearance table. Fat Tiger modified the strength, and Nobita modified the intelligence. Everyone looked at their own winning table and smiled with satisfaction. Doraemon stood by and watched them modify it quietly. When they finished modifying everything, the part he had painted suddenly fell off the table and turned into a black ribbon. Doraemon sighed with an expression that he had expected it long ago. These guys are really asking for trouble. They actually changed the data on the table randomly. Zyadishan looked at the blue fat man. What's wrong? Is there any sequelae of such modification? The part that just fell off the table suddenly floated up and found the person who modified the table. Doraemon continued to explain, this table is to ensure that its own data is correct. If they make such random changes, they will be forced to conform to the part they modified. Just as they were chatting, the black ribbons suddenly hardened and turned into rulers, hitting them on the head mercilessly. So if they don't achieve their expected goals, they will be beaten all the time. Gian and Azzy and Zyadishan looked at their miserable state of being beaten and suddenly felt a little more sympathy for them. Seeing them being beaten back by the ruler, Gian and Azzy and Shumashan also prepared to go back. They had seen enough fast this afternoon, so they should go back and practice swordsmanship. After dinner, he teleported directly to Lee Zinayu's house to give them money. At this time, they were eating noodles in the room, and suddenly a black shadow appeared, almost scaring them both. Gian and Azzy, why did you come to us suddenly? I almost thought it was haunted. Gian and Azzy took out 142 million and threw it in front of them. This is your part. Then he left in style. They looked at the suitcase on the ground, stunned for a long time, and then burst into huge cheers. There is money. You are back. The matter over there has been resolved. Zyadishan was still reading a book and greeted him without turning his head. Gian and Azzy sat on the bed. Yes, their share of the money has been paid off. Zyadishan finally turned around and looked at Dazzy. Then I'll leave my share with you first. Unexpectedly, Gian and Azzy suddenly looked at him with a surprised look. What are you talking about? The remaining money here has nothing to do with you. Why? We got this money together after all. Gian and Azzy looked at him. It's very simple. You took 2 treasures from the tomb, one of which is worth half. Your share is naturally gone. Zyadishan covered his head. In other words, I'm still so poor? Yes. Gian and Azzy nodded vigorously. You have always been so poor. After saying this, you can see from the side that he gradually turned into a stone sculpture. Gian and Azzy smiled and prepared to go to bed. In fact, it is okay to give him a part. After all, the dozens of diamonds on his body, which one is not worth hundreds of millions? But Gian and Azzy just wanted to see Mushan's helpless expression, so he did this. On Friday afternoon, Gian and Azzy would collect intelligence in the open space as usual. Unexpectedly, I heard others say that a monster had appeared in recent days. Let me tell you, I was eating snacks some time ago, and I ran into that monster. Fat Tiger said what happened that day, and he still felt scared when he thought about it now. And that monster looked very scary, with only one eye and one mouth. Yu and Azzy thought about the appearance of the monster and said, it's not that scary, it's just a cyclops. Fat Tiger shook his head repeatedly. You misunderstood. I didn't say that there was only one eye and mouth on his face, but it only had eyes and mouth. Hearing this, Yu and Azzy secretly imagined that eyes and mouth were flying in the sky, which did look a bit scary. Then he suddenly said with a look of I see, that's why, no wonder you guys have been restless these days and haven't come out to play. It turns out it's because of this. Sunia nodded. Yeah, I met him yesterday too. He came over and flipped through my comics and left saliva marks. At this point, Yu and Azzy expressed his disgust for him. Don't say such disgusting things, okay? I have to eat dinner later. After expressing his emotions, he began to think about all the possible consequences of this matter. Is there really a monster nearby? But I just didn't find it. It seems that I have to be on guard recently. In Nobita's room, he was ordered by his mother not to go out to play until he finished his homework. At this time, Nobita's mind always turned very fast. If you want to use that prop, you need to get him out of the way first. He glanced at Doraemon who was reading a book and began to think about a plan. Then he turned around. Doraemon, can you please pour me a glass of juice? Seeing that Nobita was doing his homework so seriously, the blue fat man left the room without any suspicion. However, in order to prevent Nobita from taking his props, he also took away the spare pocket. Nobita smiled and took out his own prop, the business trip mouth and eye, from the drawer. This prop is very simple, consisting of only one eye and a mouth, which can overcome gravity and fly in the air. Moreover, this eye and mouth are controlled by the mind and can fly anywhere, and the feeling above will be transmitted back exactly the same. For example, if you eat candy with the business trip mouth and eye, then your taste buds will feel the sweetness of the candy, and the candy will also enter your stomach. Although the painting style is a bit weird, it is indeed a very useful prop. The mouth and eye are very convenient for him to do some things, such as sneak a peek at other people's answers. The eyes and mouth followed Nobita's mind and flew to Dekisugi's room. At this time, Dekisugi was reading a book, and an eye and a mouth suddenly flew in from the window, which scared him a lot. But after seeing many things in the dark world, Dekisugi is no longer a newbie. Seeing this potentially dangerous creature, he pulled out Gang without saying a word. As soon as Nobita flew into Zayashin's bedroom, he saw a knife in Demishin's hand, and he felt something was wrong. So he shouted, "No, no, no, wait, I just..." Demishin didn't listen to the thing's explanation at all, and directly swung the sharp blade to cut it in two. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 331, The Consequences of a Clean Break. In the room, Nobita only saw a flash of white light, and then his left eye and mouth suddenly felt an extremely severe pain, almost making him faint. "Ah, it hurts so much. Doraemon, please save me." The tragic cry echoed in the room, and Nobita and his mother below hurriedly rushed up. Although the pain was very severe, his appearance did not change at all. This time, it was his soul that was hurt. Nobita's mother saw him crying in pain and asked hurriedly, "What's wrong, Nobita? Why are you crying like this?" Then her hand accidentally touched Nobita's mouth, and she felt a burst of warmth. She picked up her hand and saw that it was soaked with blood for some reason. "Blood? It's not good. Send him to the hospital." The two of them sent Nobita to the emergency room of the hospital, anxiously waiting for the results of the emergency treatment. Zayashin looked at the eyes and mouth that were cut into two pieces on the ground by him and took her Horcrux back into her soul. "What the hell is this thing? It doesn't seem to be very aggressive. Did I chop it wrong?" Zayashin felt a little uneasy as he looked at the mouth and eyes on the ground that had not disappeared. Not long after, and as he also returned home and saw the strange thing on the ground. Could this be the monster that Fat Tiger mentioned? "Did you chop it off?" Zayashin nodded. Did Fat Tiger and the others also encounter this monster? It seems that it is really not aggressive. And as he stepped on it twice casually, and the thing still did not respond. It seems to be dead. Why not throw it away? Speaking of this, Chumushin lowered his head. "I don't know, but I always have a bad feeling." He threw the thing away and returned to the room. "Forget it. You have already done it anyway. No matter what the consequences are, I will bear it with you." The next morning, Fat Tiger and Sunia suddenly found them. "Gian, Chumushin, I heard that Nobita is injured. Do you want to go to the hospital to see him?" And as he opened the door, "Nobita is injured? How could it be, with Doraemon here, who can hurt him?" Fat Tiger thought for a moment and said, "I don't know either. I just heard that his mouth and eyes were injured, and they would bleed if touched, but there was no wound on the outside." Hearing these two familiar terms, they immediately remembered what happened yesterday afternoon, and their hearts skipped a beat. So the two of them put on their shoes immediately. "He is in the hospital in town, right? We will be there soon." After that, Dekisugi passed Fat Tiger and Sunia and quickly ran to the hospital. And as he also came to the two of them, picked them up in one hand and said, "Wait for me, Dekisugi." While running, he locked the door behind him with his mental power. Fat Tiger and Sunia felt extremely uncomfortable. "Ah, you and classmate, can you slow down? It's too shaking here." The two of them were carried on Yu and as his shoulders, and their stomachs were constantly hit by his shoulders. Now they felt their stomachs rolling, as if they wanted to vomit something. But Yu and as he didn't care at all. Bear with it, we will be at the hospital soon. In just over 10 minutes, they appeared at Nobita's bedside. At this time, Nobita was lying on the bed, with his eyes and mouth wrapped in thick gauze. Although there seemed to be no scars on the outside, blood kept oozing out, and there was no reason to find it. Seeing Zayashi coming in, he immediately began to struggle hard, with fear in his eyes. Yu and as he brought Fat Tiger and Sunia to the ward, and saw Nobita's condition. After he put Fat Tiger and the other two down, he looked at Nobita, and couldn't help but sigh. It's really an absolute tragedy. Doraemon was a little moved to see so many people coming to visit Nobita. Thank you so much for coming to visit him. After all, he usually causes you so much trouble. Fat Tiger patted the blue fat man on the shoulder. Look at what you said, aren't we friends? Sunia also took out his fruit basket as a gift of comfort. At this time, Izuku said embarrassedly, sorry, Nobita's eyes and mouth should be caused by me. Huh. The others were stunned by this sentence, because they couldn't believe it at all. Don't make fun of Izuku. How could you cut Nobita with a knife? This joke is not funny. Zayashi shook his head. I'm not kidding. His injuries should really be caused by me. Seeing that he was so serious, Doraemon decided to listen to what happened. It's like this. I was reading a book that day, but suddenly an eye and a mouth flew over from the sky. Oh, I know that monster. Fat Tiger Sunia immediately became excited. That monster also harassed you? Zayashi nodded. I was scared when I saw it, and then I drew my sword and cut it into 2 pieces, and then Nobita. Others immediately came up to comfort him. It's okay. How could Nobita be that kind of monster? Even if it is Doraemon's prop. At this point, the scene suddenly calmed down, and then everyone looked at Doraemon. Why are you looking at me? I really don't know anything about this. The blue fat man was forced into a corner by everyone's momentum, looking at Fat Tiger and Sunia in horror. The two of them looked gloomy. You are the one who lent Nobita the props and let him play pranks everywhere, right? Yu and as he immediately went up and grabbed Fat Tiger and the others. Forget it. Now is not the time to discuss this. Let's talk about it later, okay? The two of them looked at Nobita lying on the bed and still put away their anger. Nobita, is this really how you got injured? If so, nod your head. Nobita knew it was best not to lie at this time, so he nodded vigorously. Doraemon sat in his seat, as if he had lost all his strength. How could it be? I clearly didn't lend Nobita the props. Why is he still? Yu and as he took out a stack of money from his pocket and put it on the table, ready to solve this matter. This money will be regarded as the medical expenses we pay, and then I will heal his injuries. Having said this, Yu and as he put his hand on the other's head and began to heal his soul trauma. After a while, Yu and as he put away his hand. Fortunately, the injury was not serious. He touched his wound and found that the wound really didn't hurt. So he immediately removed the bandage. Yeah, that's great. I'm finally alive. And Doraemon finally had time to ask him, Nobita, where did your props come from? Why didn't I know anything about it? Nobita touched his eyes, and he was still frightened. I received a package from the future a few days ago. I signed for it when Doraemon was not there. Then I secretly took it out and used it. After hearing this, Doraemon almost exploded. Really? You used all kinds of props without considering the consequences. Now you know how powerful it is. Nobita knelt on the bed, clasped his hands together, and apologized to him. I'm sorry, I won't dare to do it again. Seeing Nobita's miserable appearance, Doraemon couldn't bear to say anything, so he had to give up preaching to him. Chapter 332 Daily Trivia. Since this matter was caused by Nobita, and you cured him, then let's just leave it at that. Take this stack of money back. Doraemon pointed to the 10,000 yuan bills on the table, signaling Yu and Daisy to take it back. Since you say so, I'd rather obey you than be disrespectful. A hand flashed in front of his eyes quickly and took away the money on the table. Nobita watched his money fly away with pain, and he wanted to cry, but had no tears. The two of them obviously underestimated Yu and Daz's persistence in money. Okay, since the matter has been resolved, we will say goodbye. And as he imitated the ancient knights of the Celestial Empire, bowed to Nobita and Doraemon, and then left. After and as he left, Nobita was ready to ask Doraemon why he returned the money to them. But before he could open his mouth, two murderosaurs came from behind. Nobita, did you find my meatballs delicious when you ate them a while ago? Yeah, they left that kind of mark on my comic book, which really makes me angry. He turned around and saw Fat Tiger and Sunia with dark faces, ready to fight here. Doraemon took a few steps back, which showed his attitude towards this matter. Anyway, Nobita's injuries have been healed now, so it is right for them to teach him a lesson for using props indiscriminately. With the sound of beatings and screams, Nobita was taught a lesson by others again. After they left, Doraemon walked up to him and said, "Okay, Nobita, it's almost time for us to go through the discharge procedures." Nobita pointed to his new dark circles and said, "Look at how they beat me up, and you don't care." Doraemon spread his hands to show that he could do nothing about it. "It was you who stole my props, so just accept it." Then he smiled and said, "And compared to the scratches on your eyes and mouth, this ending is good, right?" Hearing what he said, Nobita thought about it and finally smiled. "You're right. Let's go through the procedures." Nobita and Doraemon happily held hands and came to the front desk. The young lady was startled and stammered, I remember that your eyes were damaged yesterday. Why did it?" Doraemon saw that the situation was not good and immediately took out the hypnotic radio wave from his pocket. "Isn't it normal for your eyes to heal so quickly?" As the radio wave was transmitted, everyone in the hospital believed that it was normal for Nobita's eyes to heal. Now there was no obstacle for them to go through the formalities. After they went through the discharge formalities, they went home together. On the way back, Ziadishan was still entangled in what happened yesterday afternoon. "If I hadn't been so impulsive at the time, this would not have happened." And as he patted his shoulder, "Don't think so. In fact, what you did is right. It is a wise choice to nip the danger in the bud in advance from a safety perspective. If that is really a monster, it will be too late for you to regret it when it attaches to you." Ziadishan thought for a while and nodded. What he said made sense. The next morning, Ziadishan suddenly pulled Dazzy to the ancient museum. "There are a lot of fossils there. Let's go. I'll introduce them to you one by one." And as he carried his small school bag with a helpless look on his face and went to the museum in Tokyo City with him. After more than half an hour of bumpy ride, they arrived at this ancient museum. Chumashin pointed at the stone sculptures excitedly and said, "Let me tell you, this is a Stegosaurus, this is a Tyrannosaurus Rex." He introduced each dinosaur fossil to Yu and Dazzy with great interest, and Dazzy just smiled and nodded. "I remember you came here before. Why do you suddenly want to come today?" "Because my mental power is very strong now. I want to see if I can get any information." Yu and Dazzy understood instantly. "You want to use mental power to analyze these stones? What do you want this information for?" Ziadishan looked at Dazzy seriously. "Because I want to understand the various forms of life." His ambition is very ambitious and cannot be completed in a short time. Yu and Dazzy's eyes swept over each skeleton, and suddenly he remembered an interesting story in the original work. "I wonder if there is a dinosaur wearing glasses on the skeleton here? It's really curious." Yu and Dazzy began to look at each huge dinosaur skeleton, but he had no clue at all. Finally, he shook his head helplessly. "It seems that there is no more. I don't know if the glasses were taken away or if the two of them didn't go back for a walk." After spending the whole morning, Ziadishan only analyzed the situation of two fossils. He knew that Yu and Dazzy had been impatient here for a long time, so he came over and left with him. "What should I eat for lunch? Should I go back to cook now?" Ziadishan shook his head. "It's unrealistic to go back to cook so late. Let's go out to eat." Now he didn't dare to take Yu and Dazzy to the nearby buffet restaurant. He was afraid that he would be kicked out by the boss because he ate too much. And the most likely situation that would result in that was that Yu and Dazzy and the boss would fight. Of course, he was not worried about Yu and Dazzy's life safety. He was worried that Dazzy would demolish other people's stores. So he suggested, "Let's go eat noodles at noon today. How about it?" Yu and Dazzy had no objection to this. Anyway, they were all hungry, so it didn't matter if the taste was too bad. After eating, they returned to the town and saw Nobita and Fat Tiger playing games. Sunia was standing by as the referee, but Fat Tiger vs. Nobita, start now. After the referee's announcement, Nobita tried hard to knock the opponent out, but Fat Tiger didn't move at all and even showed a mocking smile. When he felt that Nobita's physical strength was almost exhausted, he pushed Nobita down with a push of his butt. Nobita, not only are you weak, but you are also as light as a piece of paper. Haha. Amid the ruthless ridicule of the two, Nobita stood up unwillingly. Then it was the duel between Fat Tiger and Sunia, and there was no suspense that Fat Tiger won. But even Sunia, who was shorter, didn't fly as far as Nobita. Seeing this, Nobita could only hum unwillingly, and then went home to find Doraemon. At this time, they also saw the academic duo of Yu and Daisuke and Demushin at the edge of the open space and greeted them. Hey Yu and Daisuke, Demushin, do you two want to come over to play games? The two of them just witnessed the whole process and said that they didn't want to play such a boring game. Sunia also took out the comics. Well, I brought comics. Why don't we read comics together? With Yu and Daisuke, Sunia didn't worry at all that his comics would be taken away by others. Yu and Daisuke thought about it. Anyway, there was nothing to do when he went back, so he just read comics for a while. Then I'll go back first. Remember to come back early. Zyadishin has never been interested in comics, so he left alone. When Nobita returned home, he finally fell into Doraemon's arms and began to cry to him about his experience today. Chapter 333 Heavy Body. After Nobita returned home, he jumped on the blue fat man. Doraemon, I want to become heavier. The blue fat man put down the book in his hand. Why do you suddenly want to become heavier? Did you accidentally get blown away by the wind today? No, we were playing games today, and I was knocked away by Fat Tiger. So I want to become heavier, so that they can't bully me. Doraemon put his hand into his pocket. In this case, I remember there should be a prop. This is it, a weighted light. He had something like a flashlight in his hand, and began to explain to Nobita how to use it. Just turn this switch to the weighted direction, and then shine it on you for a while. The blue fat man adjusted the direction, and a purple light shone on Nobita. After a while, he turned off the flashlight. Okay, now you have become much heavier. Nobita tried to move his hands and feet, but he didn't feel any change. So he asked, Doraemon, is your prop really effective? I feel the same as before. The blue fat man pushed him out of the door. Don't worry, you are about 5 times heavier now. You won't be knocked away easily by others. The two of them returned to the open space, and Fat Tiger was reading a book with them. Hey Fat Tiger, why don't we play? But again now. Fat Tiger put down the comics, and seeing that Nobita dared to challenge him again, he covered his stomach and laughed. Nobita, with your small physique, if you play this game with me, I don't think it's fun at all. Yu and Daisuke nodded and agreed with this point of view. Not to mention the reason of strength, Nobita is really too light, and he doesn't have an innate advantage. But Nobita stepped forward and pointed at Fat Tiger with his finger, looking extremely arrogant. That was before. I'm different now. Then Nobita put his hands in front of his chest again and changed to a very contemptuous tone. Fat Tiger, are you afraid? Afraid that I will defeat you later and let your reputation as the king of children be ruined? Seeing that he looked down on him so much, Fat Tiger threw the book on Sunia's head, leaving him with a big bag. Then he jumped down from the cement pipe. Since you are so eager to die, then I will fulfill your wish. Yu and as he sat on the cement pipe with his legs crossed, watching the revenge battle below with interest. After the two were ready, they came to the middle of the open space and stood back to back. Sunia covered his head, endured the pain, and came to the middle of the two to be the referee. Then it's ass to ass, Fat Tiger against Nobita. Start now. After Sunia announced the start, Fat Tiger did not show mercy this time, and he went all out right away. But he felt as if he had hit a wall, and the other party didn't move at all. Fat Tiger, is this all you can do? Nobita grinned wickedly, and with a push of his waist, he pushed Fat Tiger away. Yu and Daisuke, who was watching this scene from the side, was stunned for a few seconds, and then realized that it was Doraemon's doing. Really, I should have thought of it when Nobita and Doraemon appeared together. My brain really can't think straight lately. He covered his head and regretted a few words, then looked at Fat Tiger who was knocked away by Nobita. Sunia looked at Nobita with his mouth wide open, unable to accept this fact all of a sudden. Fat Tiger finally got up from the ground and looked at Nobita angrily. I don't believe it. He's just Nobita. How dare you be so arrogant? He walked over and grabbed Sunia's collar. Hurry up and be the referee for me, or I'll beat you up first. Sunia knew clearly that a furious Fat Tiger must not be provoked, so he quickly agreed. The result of the second time was similar to the first time. Fat Tiger was knocked away by Nobita. It was just that this time Fat Tiger was prepared and did not fly so far. After being knocked away several times, Fat Tiger finally accepted the fact helplessly. Sunia also realized that something was wrong. How could Nobita beat Fat Tiger under normal circumstances? He asked Nobita how he did it. As expected, he relaxed his guard because of the victory and took out his props. That's because of this weighted lightning lamp. I increased my weight a lot so I can beat Fat Tiger. Just when Nobita was showing off, a hand stretched out. Then let me try this prop. How about it? Before Nobita could react to who it was, Fat Tiger, who came over at some point, had already snatched the lamp away. Hey Fat Tiger, that's my prop. You can't use it casually. Doraemon immediately became anxious, and the props that Fat Tiger got would definitely not end well. He ignored the wailing of Nobita and Doraemon and handed the flashlight to Sunia. Shine me quickly. I want to let Nobita experience the feeling of being knocked away. Sunia also turned on the flashlight with a smirk on his face, and the purple light began to shine on Fat Tiger's body. In this way, Fat Tiger bathed in this ultraviolet light for nearly 10 minutes, but the two of them still had no intention of stopping. And as he looked at the purple light and frowned, is this ultraviolet light? I heard that too much exposure will cause skin cancer. Fat Tiger, you've almost done it. It's not good if it's too heavy. The two of them looked at Fat Tiger worriedly. Fat Tiger was probably more than 100 times heavier now. If it gets heavier and hits Nobita later, the consequences will be unimaginable. And Nobita finally remembered that there was another person up there, Yu and Azuki. Don't you take care of them? But at this time, Yu and Azuki was feeling the working principle of light and had no time to pay attention to them. That's right, after complaining just now, he released his mental power to carefully feel the energy form of the light wave. In the past 10 minutes, he has mastered some rules and is summarizing them. Just as the two of them continued to worry, the tragedy that everyone had been worried about finally happened. The land under Fat Tiger's feet began to collapse gradually because it couldn't bear the weight above. In other words, Fat Tiger was sinking into the land rapidly. Sunia, stop shining, turn off the light. He finally panicked. Now he was like in a swamp and had no way to get out of here. Doraemon hurried over to hold him. Sunia, turn the switch to the other side and shine it on him again. Sunia hurriedly did what Doraemon said, but no matter how he pressed it, the flashlight wouldn't light up. In the end, Nobita could only shout helplessly, Doraemon, this thing is out of power. What? Who told you to shine it for so long? You deserve it now. Doraemon could only say that he had no other options. Fat Tiger was still sinking. Half of his body was already buried in the earth. He could only be furious at the blue fat man. Doraemon, your props are always so unreliable. The blue fat man was also unhappy. I didn't want to lend them to you. You asked for it. After that, he let go of his hand. I'm going to go back and change the battery now. You're on your own. Then he reached out and snatched the weighted lightning lamp from Sunia's hand and took the time machine back to buy batteries. Fat Tiger lost Doraemon's help and immediately sank at a faster speed, and soon the earth submerged his neck. At this time, Yu and Azuki finally summarized the use of this magic, which was considered freeing up his hands. Seeing that Fat Tiger was about to have only a head left, he hurried behind him and grabbed his hand. However, Yu and Azuki immediately felt his weight and was shocked. How long have you been taking pictures? I can't even lift him up with my current strength. Chapter 334 Fried rice is not as good as it should be. You dead fat pig, you're really heavy. After complaining, Yu and Azuki began to get serious. A dark yellow rune gradually emerged from his palm and was imprinted on Fat Tiger's body through direct contact. Earth magic, zero gravity field. Remember this, you guy. If you dare to destroy my land, you will have to pay compensation. After saying this, a crack appeared on the ground under Yu and Daz's feet, and Fat Tiger was pulled out from the ground. When he flew into the air, Yu and Daz he released his spell, and after landing again, he smashed a big earth pit on the ground. Sunia and Nobita next to him were petrified. Is this guy still a human? This time, because Fat Tiger was lying down, the force area was larger than standing on his feet, so he was finally safe. Yu and Daz he clapped his hands to release his magic, and then sat on the cement pipe to continue reading. Doraemon came back a few minutes later, and when he saw this situation, he also gasped. He pointed at Fat Tiger. This pit, could it be? The two people next to him nodded and pointed at Yu and Daz who was reading a comic. Doraemon quickly restored Fat Tiger to his original state, and then the group planned to escape quietly. Yu and Daz sneered and closed the book in his hand. You guys stop right there. They stopped their steps mechanically, turned their heads slowly, and showed a pale smile. Haha, classmate Yu, you suddenly called us. What's the matter? Yu and Daz pointed to the earth pit over there. Because your props made my territory like this, do you want to just leave like this? They looked at each other, not knowing what Daz wanted to do. Hurry up and take the soil back for me with a shovel. Otherwise, I will bury you guys as a foundation. Doraemon hurriedly took out a shovel from his pocket and filled the pit with everyone. And just scaring them casually made them like this. Yu and Daz sat on it, reading Sunia's comics comfortably while supervising them. More than an hour later, they panted and asked Yu and Daz to come down to inspect the project. I looked at the land that was similar to the previous one, and he nodded with satisfaction. I'll let you go this time, but be careful next time you play here. After saying that, Yu and Daz jumped down from the cement pipe and handed the comic in his hand to Xiaofu. After returning home, I found that Xiaofu was feeding her own dabe and playing games with it. Go to dabe, pick it up for me. Xiaofu threw a wooden stick, and dabe ran over happily. After all, Xiaofu was always reading books and had little time to play with it. So Yu and Daz also became interested and took out a diamond as big as a fist. Go to Junfei, pick it up for me. The scene became quiet for a while, and Chumushin just looked at him without saying anything. Yu and Daz touched his head, walked to the diamond, and put the extremely shining diamond back into his pocket. Chumushin finally realized something was wrong, because the reflection of the thing he just picked up seemed to flash at him. Wait a minute, what was that thing you just threw out? Oh, you mean this? He took the diamond out of the Dark Star cloak. The last time I went to the future world, I took a few diamonds by the way. It should be worth a few 100 million yen, right? I don't know the market price. Xiaofu was speechless. Such a valuable thing, you just threw it away. Seeing his helpless expression, Yu and Daz asked, then if I give you another chance, will you go and pick it up? Chumushin did not hesitate. Of course not. Human dignity is priceless. I will not abandon my dignity for money. Oh, really? Yu and Daz sneered and suddenly threw the diamond, wanting to see if he would pick it up. Then Yu and Daz began to look forward to it. No one can escape the law of true fragrance. I believe you can't do anything. But until the diamond fell on the stone and shattered, Chumushin did not move. Hey, are you kidding? You really won't pick it up? My hundreds of millions are gone just like that. Yu and Daz knelt in front of the diamond fragments, grief-stricken. Of course I won't pick it up. Chumushin walked up to him. I believe that there must be something more precious than money in this world, so I won't give up my dignity for money. Yu and Daz sighed helplessly and crushed the remaining broken diamonds into pieces. Okay, I really admire you. Let's go back and make dinner. The next morning, Yu and Daz got up and stretched lazily. It's the familiar Monday again. It's so annoying. Why doesn't the blue fat man come and tear down the school? He practiced physical skills and magic on the roof as usual, waiting for Chumushin to get up. By the way, next Monday is his birthday. I have to pick a time to order a cake for him. After arranging the itinerary for this period, Chumushin had already gotten up to prepare breakfast. After going out, Yu and Daz walked to a newly dug small mound and bowed there a few times. Daz, why did you go there to worship? Did you bury something? And as he nodded, yes, I buried the diamond yesterday, and I came here today to pay tribute to it. Xiaoshen's mouth twitched involuntarily. He didn't know what to say about this situation. When he arrived at school, he waited until the teacher called the roll before Nobita hurriedly came to the classroom. As expected, the consequence of being late was to be called out by the teacher and stand in the corner. No one was surprised at all. After all, everyone took this as a normal situation. For all the students present, it was a big deal if Nobita was not late. The teacher picked up a small notebook. Let me tell you before class today, there will be an exam tomorrow. The subjects are Chinese and mathematics. The students in the classroom screamed immediately. They actually have to take an exam. 2 subjects. However, the teacher never paid attention to the screams below and turned a page by himself. And there will be an educational internship on Wednesday. Remember to ask the parents to come. If anyone can't come, please come to my office. As soon as the voice fell, the people in the classroom suddenly felt that their lives had lost their meaning. Asking parents to come for a visit after the exam. Are you still human, teacher? It's simply a devil. Dazi and Xiaoshen communicated with their mental power, and they will go to tell the teacher about this later. Kato Zhi flipped through the small notebook, and there was another important thing at the back. But it's still early now, and there's no need to rush for a while, so let's tell them next week. Thinking of this, he put down the notebook. That's all I want to say. It's class time now. Everyone concentrate on the class. After school in the morning, Yu and Dazi and Demishin found the teacher and prepared to talk to him about the educational internship. You said your parents are working outside now, so it's inconvenient for them to come back for the educational internship? After the teacher wrote this down in the notebook, he replied, I will find time to contact your parents. You go back first. At this time, the classmates had already brought lunch, and only the 2 of them were missing. Yin and Dazi and Demushan quickly took the lunch and returned to their seats. Xiaoshen began to look forward to her parents' reply. After all, this time it was an educational internship, and if their parents really had time, they would definitely come back. After school in the afternoon, Xiaoshen found Dazi to discuss whether the adoptive parents would come. Yin and Dazi thought about it and gave him an answer he wanted to hear. I think they should. His child is so outstanding, shouldn't he come back to see him? Sure enough, when he heard that Yu and Dazi also thought that his parents would come back, the corners of his mouth unconsciously rose. But then he overturned his own inference. But it's hard to say. After all, they trust us so much, it doesn't matter whether we see it or not. Chumushin was confused by Yu and Dazi's 2 sentences and couldn't make up his mind. He was usually very wise, but he seemed to lose his mind when he mentioned his parents. Chapter 335. Destroyers join forces. After walking out of the main door of the teaching building, Xiaoshen suddenly pulled Dazi and walked towards another building. What's wrong? Why do you suddenly want to come to the library at this time? Yin and Dazi watched him drag himself in here, waiting for his answer. I have finished reading all the books at home, and the library in town is a bit far, so I might as well borrow some books here, although there are not many books. Xiaoshen began to pick out the books he needed more, while Dazi found a novel to read. Nobita returned home, and he felt uneasy when he thought about the 2 exams tomorrow. What should I do? The exam is coming soon. I should review. But I don't want to review. It's annoying. He turned over in front of the desk, put the pencil in his mouth, and began to bite the tip of the pen. And these questions are so difficult. How can I do them? Is there any way to get a high score quickly? Just when Nobita was worried, the familiar voice of Doraemon came from below. He immediately slapped his head and said, "Oh, I got it. Can't I just let Doraemon help me find a solution? I'm such a genius." So Nobita immediately took action, holding a kettle and a pillow, and started running around in the bedroom. The blue fat man returned home happily and saw a fool in the room entertaining himself. What should I do? What should I do? I'm going to die now. The sky is going to fall. The Doraemon looked at him with dead fish eyes, and his eyes revealed his inner contempt. Ah, is that so? What happened? You can tell me. Seeing that the blue fat man took the bait, Nobita was very happy in his heart. But on the surface, he was still very nervous. We have an exam tomorrow, and we have to take 2 subjects. Seeing that he was worried about this kind of thing, Doraemon immediately lost all interest. Yawned, "Oh. So why are you holding a kettle and a pillow? Is it fun?" Although it is a question sentence, there is no questioning tone, just stating the fact. "I took these things to show my nervousness." Nobita pointed at the kettle and said, "Look, I'm so nervous, now that I don't even know what this is." The blue fat man yawned again. "Really? That's really disturbing. You can study slowly." After saying that, he turned around and was about to leave the small house, leaving him alone to make trouble slowly. Nobita stopped the blue fat man helplessly. "Doraemon, do you have to be so ruthless? Do you have to watch someone die without helping?" Doraemon just looked at him. His heart was calm, and he even wanted to laugh. "I have an exam tomorrow, and I have to get 2 zeros at a time." The blue fat man just looked at him. "So, you want me to help you get through this exam?" Nobita nodded hopefully, and Doraemon said helplessly, "I know, come with me." Then he took out the arbitrary door that everyone has seen from his stomach and brought Nobita to school. At this time, Dazi and Zaoshin just came out of the library after borrowing books and saw the duo on the side. Gian and Dazi waved his hand and wanted to go up to say hello, but he found that Doraemon was in a strange state. This expression, isn't it the expression of despair that I had when I was teaching Nobita homework? So Yu and Dazi immediately grabbed Dekisugi and wanted to see how things would develop. Sure enough, Doraemon was confused by Nobita and took out an electric fan from his pocket. Super powerful electric fan. Use this to blow a strong wind comparable to a typhoon. Try it now. At this time, Nobita finally realized that something was wrong, but he still had the mentality of giving it a try. "Doraemon, are you kidding? Haha, you are so naive." The blue fat man turned the switch to the 10 position with an expressionless face, and instantly a level 10 typhoon blew in this area. The trees planted in the yard began to sway in the strong wind, as if they would break at any time, not to mention the flowers and plants, which were directly uprooted. Even the teaching building that had been standing all the time began to become unstable and looked like it was about to collapse. Dekisugi immediately rushed over from the back. "Have you two made enough trouble? This is a teaching building. How can you use such props indiscriminately?" Gian and Dazi also rushed over and adjusted the wind speed of the electric fan to level 11. The wind in the campus suddenly became more rampant, and the trees were frantically testing the edge of being blown off. Dekisugi kicked Yu and Dazi away. "You are also a guy, still making trouble there." He quickly turned off the super powerful electric fan, and then kicked Nobita and Doraemon back into the random door. After solving the problem, Dekisugi dragged Yu and Dazi behind him and walked home. "You are really a fool. Why are you being confused at this time? This is not how you joke, right?" After Nobita and Doraemon returned home, Nobita also began to complain that the blue fat man did not help him properly. "So what? Don't I give you enough props? You always rely on my props and end up causing a lot of trouble." Doraemon then put his hands in his pockets. "Besides, the exam is something you should work hard on yourself." Nobita put his hands together. "I'm really sorry, just help me this time. If I get a 0, I'll be in trouble for the teaching internship the day after tomorrow." Doraemon glanced at him sideways. "Then promise me that this is the last time." Nobita made several solemn oaths in a row, promising that it would definitely be the last time. Doraemon still looked at him with dead fish eyes. It was obvious that the oaths made for such things were false. Bah, scumbag. But he still searched for something in his pocket to help him this time. After all, the day after tomorrow is the teaching internship, and the test papers will probably be distributed on that day. If Nobita does too badly in the exam this time, then his mother's anger will not be something he can bear. In that case, I'll lend you this thing. It's most convenient to use it for the exam. The blue fat man took out a piece of bread from his pocket and began to explain to him how to use it. "This is memory bread. Just press it on the book and eat it, and you will remember all the content you just copied." Then Doraemon took out Nobita's notebook, casually placed the memory bread on a piece of paper, and pressed it hard. When he picked it up again, there was a full page of math problems on the bread. Then Doraemon handed the piece of bread to Nobita. "Come on, Nobita, eat this thing now." Nobita did as Doraemon said, and stuffed the thin bread into bites. After eating it, Nobita felt that he was no different from before he had eaten it. Doraemon picked up Nobita's notebook. What is 47 plus 52? Nobita seemed to have said his answer without thinking. The answer is 88. Doraemon almost choked to death on a mouthful of saliva. Is there something wrong with my memory bread? This shouldn't be possible. He quickly checked Nobita's notebook and then smashed it on Nobita's head. What kind of notes are you taking? All the questions on it are wrong. Get out and borrow the notebook. Nobita touched his head, and before he recovered from the pain, a big backpack hit him. Until you borrow all the notebooks, you are not allowed to enter this house. Take the bread and get out. Chapter 336 Reasonable Help. Nobita was walking on the street with a big backpack of bread on his back, thinking about whose notebook he should borrow. Speaking of whose notebook is the best to borrow, of course it's Izuki and Daisuke. After all, they were the only two in the class who always got full marks, and they were very familiar with him. A few minutes later, Nobita stood at their door, panting. This damn backpack is really heavy. Isn't Doraemon stuff too much? After he adjusted his breathing, he rang the doorbell of Izuka's house. A minute later, Daisuke appeared in front of him. Daisuke was shocked when he saw him, because the backpack behind him seemed to be as tall as him, and he didn't know what was in it. What's wrong? You look like you were kicked out by your mother, and you want to stay at our house for a few days? No, I have something to ask you. Can you let us go up first? He was almost suffocated by the backpack. Although it was just bread, such a big bag was still very heavy. Daisuke stretched out his hand and took the bag naturally. It didn't feel heavy. Nobita, you have a bad physique. You must be tired even with such a light bag. He carried the backpack in one hand, and Nobita followed him to the bedroom. At this time, Izuki-chan was reading a book. When he heard someone coming, he turned around and looked at him. But the most eye-catching thing was the big backpack held by Daisuke. Nobita, were you kicked out, or did you run away from home? The corners of Nobita's mouth twitched. Why do you think about problems in the same way? Is this the tacit understanding of the top students? Clearing his throat, Nobita decided to talk about business first. I came to you for tomorrow's exam. I want to borrow your notes to review. Daisuke and Zayashi looked at each other and shook their heads at the same time. Although we also want to help you, we don't have the ability. Nobita was shocked. Are these two top students going to give up on him? He quickly asked them the reason. It's like this. We usually remember the content of the class, so we don't take notes. What? He felt at this time that, although the two people opposite him were standing so close, they were still so far away from him. So he silently carried his school bag and left the house. That made him heartbroken. Damn Dekisugi, damn you and Daisuke, they didn't even take notes. Nobita kicked a stone fiercely. I curse you to get a 0 in the exam tomorrow. Just as he was cursing the two, a hand was placed on his shoulder. What did you say just now? Hearing this familiar voice, Nobita turned his head mechanically. It was you and Daisuke. With a strong desire to survive, he quickly changed his words. Nothing. I just said that the weather today is not very good, so I'm not in the mood to study. And as he moved his fingers behind him. Ah, is that so? It's okay. I have a way to get you back to study. After that, amid Dakshin's screams, and as he lifted him up with his bag. Just lie down. Our two families are so close. I will take you back soon. Dakshin's tears flowed on his hands, which was frightened by his action. Soon the two appeared in front of Dakshin's house, and as he put Dakshin down. Just now I felt that it was not good to leave you alone. After all, you were once my student. After putting him down, Daisuke patted the dust on his clothes and chatted with him very gently. So if you don't do well in the exam tomorrow, I will also be very worried. Come, let's go study. And as he pulled Dakshin into his house, and Dakshin tried to go outside. I don't want to. I have my own way of studying. Don't bother with me. As soon as he finished speaking, Nobita felt a strong murderous aura coming, which made him shut up obediently. What's wrong? Do you have any opinions about my special tutoring? Tell me, I can change it. And as he patted him on the shoulder twice, almost knocking him to his knees. Nobita finally shook his head and said, I have no opinion on your tutoring. Let's get started now. On the second floor, Doraemon was reading comics in the room. He was a little surprised to see Nobita come back so soon. What's wrong? Have you borrowed the notebook so soon? Then use the memory bread quickly. It's you and classmate. Welcome, welcome. Originally, I wanted Nobita to eat the bread quickly, but with Yu and Daisy following behind, it was a bit troublesome. Yu and Daisy clapped his hands. It's okay, I just came here to tutor him for free. Don't take it to heart. Doraemon thought that this person was here to steal the bread, but it turned out to be a tutor who tutored Nobita, and he was immediately happy. That's great. Nobita, I'll trouble you. It's just right that I don't have to worry about him. Since he didn't come to steal the bread, Doraemon didn't take it to heart. And it was also something he wanted to see, that Nobita could study well. So Doraemon cooperated and put away his memory bread. Then I'll go downstairs to get some snacks. And as he pressed Nobita to his seat and began to explain the mistakes in his notes to him, Nobita cooperated very well and kept writing and calculating, following and Daz's thoughts. I'm not a coward. This is called following your heart, okay? And I also want to fight for tomorrow's exam. Yes, that's it. Nobita now knows very well that this guy's not as easy to talk to as Doraemon, so he should try his best to cooperate with him. In this process, he kept cheering himself up so as not to be taught a lesson by Daisy later. After spending 3 hours, all the wrong questions on Nobita's notebook were finally corrected. I can only help you with math here. You can memorize Chinese by yourself. And as he looked at his watch, it was already 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Zyadishan should be waiting for him to go back for dinner. After going downstairs, Nobita Maka was holding dinner and was about to call someone down to eat. Oh, Ian, thank you so much for coming here to tutor our Nobita. Do you want to stay for dinner? Ian as he shook his head and refused her invitation as usual. After saying goodbye, he hurried home to prepare for dinner. Hearing that someone had returned, Dekisugi came out of the kitchen wearing an apron. You are finally back. Come quickly. I made omelette rice. When they arrived in the kitchen, the omelette rice was already on the table, waiting for people to take their seats. Daisy poured salad dressing according to his own preferences, while Zyadishan chose ketchup. He scooped up a piece of egg and rice with sauce and put it into his mouth. There was no fishy smell of raw egg, but a sweet aftertaste. It tastes really good. When did you learn to make this rice? How come I don't know it? It's not that difficult, as long as you remember the steps and use your mental power to assist. It's very simple. Yu and Daisy nodded. It turned out that he was using a plugin. It was easy to understand this way. After the two finished their meal, they sat together and read the textbooks for this period of time. After all, there was an exam tomorrow, so no matter what, the surface work had to be done well. Chapter 337 Willing to serve you. The next morning, Nobita came to school with a big belly and kept burping. And as he looked at his bloated appearance and could only shake his head helplessly. I thought Nobita would pass the exam with his own efforts, but I didn't expect that he would eat a lot of memory bread in the end. He was really working hard for the exam. But this time his exam should be very good, because he didn't have the problem of not being able to eat this time, and the effect of memory bread was very complete. A few minutes later, the teacher came to the classroom at the bell. He didn't really want to organize this exam, but there was an educational internship tomorrow, so he had to do this. The purpose of the educational internship is, first, to make students alert, and second, to let parents see the results of teaching. These two things can be easily achieved through exams, so he had no choice but to choose this path. Okay, students, our first class this morning is Chinese. Izuka-san, come and help me distribute the test papers. Zyadishan stepped forward and placed the papers in front of everyone one by one. Looking at these boring test questions, and as he picked up a pen and quickly wrote down his name. After just over 10 minutes, a perfect test paper appeared in his hand. Then and Daisy turned his pen in boredom and began to compare it with his previous life. At this time, he would assume that it would be great if he was so good in his previous life. At this time, Dekisugi had finished writing the test paper and began to carefully check whether his answers were correct. Daisy also pretended to check it once and handed it to the teacher. Zyadishan saw that he was the first to hand it in, so he also handed in his paper and then picked up the book to start reading. When Shizuka saw that both of them had handed in their papers, he immediately turned in his paper in anger. The others looked at the three of them with envy, and then continued to work hard. After 2 classes, everyone handed in their papers, and waited for the results of the test in fear. The same was true for the math test in the afternoon. After the test, most people fell into a state of inaction. Because this test was a bit difficult, it was not like before, that they could get away with it. School was over soon, and everyone walked out of the teaching building with the crowd. Shizuka was nearby, chatting with her bestie about the results of the exam and exchanging answers. Nobita was watching Shizuka not far away. As long as he looked at her like this, Nobita would feel extremely relieved. Be careful. At this moment, Nobita heard a terrified scream. So he immediately turned his head to look at the source of the sound. A football was approaching him at a high speed. Just when Nobita thought that his not so handsome face was going to be disfigured, the ball passed by him. Nobita was relieved for a moment, and then he remembered the most likely landing point of the ball. He turned his head and saw the football flying straight towards his favorite Minamoto Shizuka, and his face turned extremely pale. He could do nothing but shout with all his strength, "Shizuka, get out of the way." Just when he thought Shizuka was going to be in trouble, Izuki suddenly jumped in front of Shizuka and blocked the ball. It was originally a perfect hero saving the beauty event, but when Izuki landed, he accidentally sprained his foot. Yu and Dazi was watching him sprain his leg, and his eyes instantly turned into dead fish eyes. How can this guy accidentally sprain his leg like this? It seems that his body is still too fragile without the Horcrux. Then Yu and Dazi walked over and prepared to treat his injury. Dekisugi knelt on one knee on the ground. Shizuka saw his expression and immediately came forward with her and several of her girlfriends to help him up. "Dekisugi, are you okay? How is your foot?" Zyadishin moved her foot and felt a sharp pain. She said with all her strength, "It seems that I sprained it, but I don't know if it is serious." Several girls went over and planned to send Zyadishin to the school's infirmary. Nobita saw this scene of defeating single dogs and ran out of the school gate angrily. At this time, Yu and Dazi suddenly went over to stop them. "It's okay. This minor injury will heal tomorrow. I'll take him back first." Then he walked over and picked up Dekisugi and quickly disappeared in front of them. It would be a waste of time to send Dekisugi to the school infirmary. This kind of injury is just a matter of healing magic. I say, you are really crazy. You can sprain your foot in this state? If I hadn't witnessed the whole process, I would have thought you were going to run for an Oscar. Dekisugi smiled helplessly. "I didn't think so much at the time. I sprained it accidentally." After returning, Yu and Dazi used healing magic to heal his foot, and then they went to practice swordsmanship on the cloud. The two of them each found a suitable cloud and studied their own swordsmanship. This was also done to prevent him from being discovered by the soul-devouring monument about the secrets of stealing. Otherwise there would be many extended problems. After Nobita returned home, he immediately threw himself into Doraemon's arms. "What's wrong? Did you fail the exam today?" Nobita shook his head. "That's not the reason. It's all because of Dekisugi." The blue fat man touched his head in confusion. "How did it get to Dekisugi? What's going on? Tell me about it, so I can listen carefully." He helped Shizuka block a ball this afternoon, and then he twisted his foot accidentally. A bunch of girls surrounded him and asked about his well-being. "It's too much." Nobita wiped his tears. "In the past, when I was hit by a ball, no one comforted me. Indeed, when others hit you, they basically all laugh at you." Doraemon also thought this was a problem, so he prepared to take out the props to help him. "Service grass. As long as you use this, you can make others serve you wholeheartedly." Nobita grabbed the prop, then aimed the grass at Doraemon and fired it. "Ah, don't point that dangerous thing at me." But when he reacted, it was too late. The service grass began to take root and sprout on his head. Soon, Doraemon's eyes turned into a small heart, and he blinked at Nobita. "Nobita-kun, I'm willing to serve you." As soon as he finished speaking, the blue fat man flew to Nobita and asked him if he needed anything. Nobita put his hand against his face with great effort. "You are not needed, just get off me." The blue fat man then got off Nobita as well and stood aside, looking at Nobita affectionately. Nobita was frightened by Doraemon's appearance. "This effect is really horrible, but if I use it on Shizuka, Oh, I'm a little hungry. His stomach growled, reminding him that he should eat now. Doraemon next to him immediately rushed downstairs. Are you hungry? I'll find you something to eat right away. After a while, the blue fat man came back with a plate of dorayaki and a cup of hot tea in his hands. So Nobita stretched out his hand. Thank you so much, Doraemon. What he didn't expect was that in order to take care of him, Doraemon directly stuffed the plate of dorayaki into his mouth. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 338. Nobita has no regrets in his life. Doraemon pulled out the plate with force, and the dorayaki was left in Nobita's mouth. Before he could say anything, Doraemon poured the cup of boiling hot tea into it. Ah, help. I'm going to be scalded to death. Nobita finally couldn't bear it anymore, and jumped up from the ground. When the blue fat man heard that Nobita was scalded, he quickly found some ice cubes, and threw them into Nobita's mouth. And for better treatment, he sealed his mouth with his hand. No, I will definitely die if I stay here like this. Nobita made a prompt decision, and pushed Doraemon away, and ran out of his house. At this time, Nobita finally spit out the ice cubes, thinking that he was finally saved. Where are you, Nobita? I really want to serve you. The door behind him was opened a crack, revealing Doraemon's glowing eyes. After saying that, Doraemon tried to fly and fall on Nobita again. This time he finally learned his lesson and quickly closed the door before the blue fat man came over. Looking at the Doraemon-shaped protrusion on the door, Nobita rolled and crawled away from this horrible home. How will this service grass also lower the other person's IQ? It's really scary. Wiping the cold sweat from his forehead, Nobita prepared to go to Shizuka's house. After all, it would be much better to let Shizuka take care of people than the blue fat man. When Nobita passed by the open space, Fat Tiger and Sunia suddenly called him. Nobita, do you want to come over and play? There are good things here. Seeing that it was these two guys, Nobita sighed helplessly. Now this situation can't be ignored. If they get angry later, his plan to find Shizuka will be ruined. When he walked to the side of the cement pipe in the open space, Sunia and Fat Tiger suddenly asked him to stop. Nobita, you have to be careful. There is a trap dug by someone here. Nobita looked and saw that there was indeed a pile of leaves on the ground, as if to hide something. He said with disdain, TSK, such a simple trap can be seen through at a glance. Which idiot would fall for it? So he raised his foot and walked to his left, and then suddenly stopped. Because he thought that Fat Tiger and Sunia would not be so kind to remind him, so there must be something fishy about this matter. Thinking of this, he was smart and stepped on the pair of leaves that looked like traps. But what Nobita didn't expect was that this time Fat Tiger and the others were so kind that they told him the real trap. There was really a pit under the leaves, and he stupidly stepped into it, even though he knew this. Then the mechanism in the pit was triggered, and a bucket of cold water poured Nobita from head to toe. Fat Tiger and Sunia were stunned. They didn't expect that Nobita would really step in. Hey, Sunia, we did say there was a trap here, didn't we? Sunia nodded stupidly. Yes, we should have said it clearly. A few seconds later, the two laughed out loud. Ha ha ha, Nobita, this idiot, actually fell for it. Nobita felt the cold touch on his body and silently picked up the service grass. Since you two are looking for death, then you can't blame me. A green light flashed, and Fat Tiger and Sunia were cuckolded by the service grass. Nobita, we are service grasses, willing to serve you. Sunia gently took out his silk handkerchief from his pocket. Really, Nobita is wet, let me wipe it for you. Fat Tiger was not happy to see that Sunia was actually trying to be attentive to him before him. We are both service grasses, why should you serve more than me? So Fat Tiger, who felt very unbalanced, took off his upper body clothes. Yours is too small, use mine. Then Fat Tiger used his clothes to wipe Nobita's face and dry his head. The two guys rubbed Nobita's face red with handkerchiefs, but they were still not satisfied, so they carried Nobita on their shoulders. No, if the clothes are not dry, it is easy to catch a cold. Go to my house to dry them. Then they carried Nobita to Fat Tiger's house and took Nobita's clothes to dry. The two used a hairdryer to blow the clothes in the house while Nobita was shivering with cold beside him. He felt that he would catch a cold if he continued like this, so he had to ask them for help. Fat Tiger, no matter what, can you give me a piece of clothing? Fat Tiger's wolf-like eyes instantly locked on him and then began to rummage through the boxes. This is my favorite clothes. This is the clothes I wear when I perform, and these. In just a few minutes, Fat Tiger took out dozens of sets of clothes. No, Nobita has such a delicate body, how can your clothes match it? Sunia had already returned from his home, also holding more than 10 sets of clothes in his hands. This is high-end fashion made in France, and this is the same pajamas as British aristocrats. Then, Fat Tiger and Sunia struck a chord and turned their eyes to Nobita. The two looked at the shivering Nobita and shouted loudly, "Nobita, tell me, whose clothes are better among us?" Nobita had no choice but to point at Sunia's clothes, because this set of clothes looked much more comfortable and more normal. But Fat Tiger's face was completely black. "You look like this. Do you look down on my taste?" Nobita, who has learned to observe words and expressions, immediately pointed at Fat Tiger's clothes very tactfully, but Sunia was unhappy again. "This is high-end fashion, and you still don't like it?" Soon Nobita found that no matter which one he pointed at, the other person would become extremely dark. So Nobita had to yell, "I like both of your clothes. I'll wear them all." Not long after, Nobita put on several sets of clothes. It would be very hard to wear so many at this time. Just when Nobita was planning how to escape, his stomach rumbled again. The two men understood instantly and pressed him on the table. "It's okay, we will solve the food problem right away." Fat Tiger began to take out a lot of home-cooked food from the refrigerator, while Sunia made a phone call and stopped. After a while, the two put the food they had carefully prepared on the table. "Come on, Nobita, try this cod meat that I like very much." After Fat Tiger finished speaking, he stuffed the cod meat into Nobita's mouth regardless of his opinion. Nobita chewed helplessly for a few times. "I feel that this meat is a little sour." Sunia immediately took up a cake roll and stuffed it into Nobita's mouth, then used sweet to neutralize it. The two stuffed a lot of food into Nobita's mouth and then fought over whose meal was the most delicious. After swallowing the food in his mouth with difficulty, Nobita found time to escape. He felt that if he continued to stay in Fat Tiger's house, his stomach would definitely burst because of the table of food. Not long after he walked out, Nobita once again saw the figure that haunted him. Why did Shizuka come out? And this direction seems to be Izuka's house. Seeing that his goddess might be going to find a rival, Nobita could not stand the green grassland and immediately followed quietly. Soon they arrived at a remote place where there were only him and Shizuka. So Nobita aimed the service grass at Shizuka, and with a flash of light, a small grass appeared on Shizuka's head. Nobita walked behind her and coughed twice deliberately. Shizuka turned her head and looked at him with infinite pity and love in her eyes. Nobita was instantly fascinated by this look, and he has no regrets in his life. Chapter 339. Which company has the best hair growth technology? Shizuka brought Nobita to her home and brought out a plate of baked cookies and 2 cups of black tea from the kitchen. "Nobita-kun, how much sugar do you need for your black tea?" Shizuka placed the baked cookies in front of Nobita and spoke to him in a gentle tone that Nobita had never heard before. 8 spoons. Nobita's face instantly turned red, and he stuttered when he spoke. So she began to add sugar to Nobita's cup, stirring it very seriously. Picking up a cookie, Nobita thought very proudly, "Dekisugi, you finally can't beat me, right? Haha." Thinking of this, he was a little too proud. Haha, it's a pity that Dekisugi didn't have the blessing to taste this cookie. If possible, I really want him to taste this delicious food. Haha. After saying that, Nobita wanted to put the cookie into his mouth, but he bit it in vain because the cookie in his hand had been taken back by Shizuka. Shizuka had already packed the cookie here with a handkerchief and stood up to leave the room. Nobita was anxious instantly. "Hey Shizuka, where are you going now?" Shizuka turned around and looked at him with empty eyes that had lost their spirit. "Nobita, didn't you just say that you wanted Dekisugi to taste it too? I'll send it to him right away." After that, Shizuka gave Nobita a brilliant smile and left without looking back. Nobita looked at Shizuka, who was walking away helplessly, and stretched out his hand to keep her. But those are my cookies. Why am I so talkative? He slapped himself hard in the room. I told you to be so talkative. I told you to be so talkative. This time he got into trouble. Not long after, Shizuka came to Dekisugi's house and rang the doorbell. And as he was practicing Sword in the Sky and suddenly received feedback from the formation below, so he went back alone. He opened the door and was a little surprised. It's Shizuka. What are you doing here? And why do you have a grass on your head? Shizuka said happily. I have a grass on my head because I'm a service grass. Is Dekisen here? And as he automatically ignored the last question. So that's it. Is it controlled by Doraemon's props? After saying that, and as he stretched out his hand and tried to pull out the service grass on Shizuka's head. But what he didn't expect was that he pulled Shizuka up, but the service grass still grew on her head. Shizuka puffed up her cheeks and was a little angry. Hate, and classmate, what are you doing? I want to find Dekisen, classmate. And as he put her down, it's okay, you stand here for a while. Dekisen will be down soon. She nodded and stood at the door waiting to complete the task assigned by Nobita. But she didn't expect that what happened next would be so cruel and become a shadow in her life. Seeing that she really didn't move, a pitch black sharp blade suddenly appeared in Yuandaz's hand, and he chopped her head mercilessly. A strong wind swept across her scalp, completely separating the service grass from Shizuka. At this time, she finally woke up and realized that everything was wrong with her just now. Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't know why I suddenly wanted to come here just now. This is an apology, sorry for disturbing you. Shizuka left the cookie she baked by herself and then ran out of the door of Dekisugi's house with a blushing face. She really didn't have the face to stay here. Hey, don't leave in a hurry, are you sure you don't want me to grow your hair first? And as he pointed at the extra black hair on the ground and wanted to call her back. But Shizuka, who was shy, couldn't hear anything, or even if she heard it, she pretended not to hear it. What happened just now is definitely related to Nobita. I will never forgive this guy. Shizuka ran on the street with her head down, and her face turned red when she thought of how gentle she was before. Not long after, he saw Nobita surrounded by Fat Tiger, Sunia and Doraemon on the street. Nobita immediately acted like he saw a savior. Shizuka, come and save me. You, what's wrong with your hair? Haha. Even the three people surrounding Nobita couldn't help laughing when they saw Shizuka's hair. That's right, Shizuka, why is there a piece of your hair missing? Shizuka's heart suddenly shrank, and she slowly stretched her hand to the top of her head and touched a piece of scalp. She finally remembered that and as he seemed to ask her to grow a hair before leaving, and she ignored it because she was too shy. Ah. A scream broke through the sky, and the powerful shockwave knocked Nobita and the other four unconscious in an instant. And as he was repacking the biscuits and preparing to return to the top of the cloud to give them to Zayashi, suddenly hearing this tragic but desperate voice, he lost his mind for a moment. So I told you to grow some hair before you leave. Look, wait a few seconds and there won't be so much trouble, right? The darkness wrapped his body, and he returned to the top of the cloud and handed the biscuits to Izuki. Shizuka came just now and said these biscuits are a thank you gift for helping her block the football this afternoon. Izuki took it, opened her handkerchief, and ate a biscuit with strawberry jam. Well, Shizuka's cooking is still so good. You can take the rest of the biscuits. You know, I don't like sweets very much. And as he put the remaining biscuits into the dark space, anyway, the food would not rot there. Just as they were about to continue practicing swordsmanship, the formation below once again gave feedback to the owner, and now someone was knocking on the door again. And as he spread his hands helplessly and teleported back down, he didn't even need to guess who it was this time. And as he, look at what you have done to my hair. Shizuka, with tears in her eyes, pointed to the empty piece of scalp on her head and accused him of his evil deeds. And as he tilted his head, didn't I tell you to stop? You left without even looking back. Hearing him say that, Shizuka burst into tears. It doesn't matter what, please let me get back to normal soon, okay? She was fed up with this and just wanted her hair to grow back, otherwise she really couldn't face anyone. Yu and Daisy casually threw a stream of life force onto her scalp, and her hair began to grow wildly. Okay, if you have nothing to do, leave quickly, we are still busy here. After seeing Shizuka off, Yu and Daisy planned to return to Yunding to continue practicing swordsmanship. But just as he was about to leave, the phone rang suddenly. Who would call us at this time? Let me see. Pick up the phone. Hello, this is the Chumushin family. Who are you looking for? A very familiar voice came from the other end. It's me, Yu and Daisy. You didn't even recognize me, did you? Yu and Daisy spent a few seconds analyzing the voice. It's Uncle. What's the matter with you calling? Nothing. Just tomorrow's educational internship. Your mother and I will not go. Remember to tell Yankei. He nodded and wrote down this important message. Okay, I will tell him about this. Is there anything else? One more thing. Yankei's birthday is next Monday. We will try our best to get back. Remember to order a cake. He nodded. This thing was going to be done anyway, so there was no need to write it down. Got it. Do you want to tell him that you are planning to come back? Hearing this question, the other party was silent for a while before saying, you go and tell him that we are not coming back for something, and then give him a surprise. Chapter 340, Instant Buddyhood. After finishing his story, Yu and Dashi returned to the cloud top and told him about his father. You lied. After listening to what Dashi said, Chumushan only used these 3 words to respond to him. Yu and Dashi was shocked by his words. How did you know? I should not have any extra expressions, and it is impossible for my soul. Unexpectedly, after hearing this, Chumushan suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Great, I just wanted to trick you. So they should come back, right? Haha, you actually tricked me. Seeing that he was exposed, Yu and Dashi had to tell the truth. Probably, it will be a little late. How did you guess? Because according to your personality, if they really don't come back, they probably won't tell me about this. So compared to this possibility, I would rather believe that they want to give me a surprise. Then he picked up and gang. Okay, if you have time to talk nonsense, you might as well practice more swordsmanship. Yu and Dashi also left this cloud and returned to his own cloud. Even he has started to work so hard, how can I lose to him? Shizuka touched her grown hair in surprise, feeling extremely fortunate. Fortunately, Yu and Daisy has a way to treat baldness, otherwise she would have to take a leave for the next period of time. But then again, the initiator of all this, Nobita, was the guy who almost made her enter middle-aged mode. On the way home, Shizuka saw the 4 men still lying on the ground. So she walked over and kicked Nobita's happiness for the rest of his life. Nobita, who was fainting, woke up instantly, knelt on the ground with his happiness, and couldn't say a word. I hate Nobita the most. After saying that, she turned her feet fiercely and left without looking back. Nobita was hit by the set of combined punches and hit 10,000 points of critical hits. The whole person began to lose color and gradually petrified. My beloved Shizuka, why did you leave me? It's okay, Nobita, don't you still have me? Fat Tiger leaned against Nobita charmingly, his hands wandering on Nobita's body. Yes, I will always be with you. This time it was Sunia, and the 2 of them provided Nobita with a full range of massage services. Just when Doraemon was about to join the battle, the service grass on his head finally withered. What? Is it finally time to serve the grass? Where's Nobita? Looking up, the blue fat man saw Nobita in front of him. Nobita was not in a good condition at this time. Oh no, it should be said that he was in a too good condition. At this time, he was sitting cross-legged on the ground with his hands clasped together on his chest. The most bizarre thing was that behind Nobita's head, a faint golden glow emerged. When Nobita opened his eyes were full of indifference, as if he had seen through the world. Fat Tiger and Sunia were still entwined around Nobita in a graceful manner, but he no longer cared about this little thing. Doraemon opened his mouth wide, because at this time a white cloud appeared under Nobita's feet, as if he was about to become an immortal. Doraemon, I'm going to the Western Paradise, you take care of yourself in the mortal world. After saying that, the clouds under his feet began to float upwards, and Nobita really began to ascend to heaven. The Reman below quickly grabbed his feet and dragged him from heaven to the mortal world. Don't be ridiculous. How could I let you go to heaven? Then he quickly turned off the switch of the service grass and kicked Fat Tiger and Sunir away. Finally, the blue fat man punched Nobita in the face. Nobita, stop making trouble. We should go home. Nobita was forced into a state of emptiness by Doraemon's punch and finally returned to the realm of humans. However, he knelt on the ground and cried again. Wow. What should I do? Doraemon. Shizuka hates me again. What should I do? The blue fat man dragged him home helplessly. It's because you go out to play as soon as you have props. It's all your own fault. After returning home, Nobita began to feel depressed because he felt that there was no hope in his life. Dazi and Zyashin finished their training at 8 o'clock in the evening and returned home to prepare dinner. Junfei, you go to feed the white in the yard. There is still some curry to make tonight, so it's a good time for me to try my hand. Dekisugi agreed, took some dog food, and went out to find Dabe and served him a bowl. Dabe first went over to lick Zyashin's face and then started to eat. I'm so sorry, because we were busy, so we left you hungry. Dekisugi stroked its head and apologized to Dabe seriously. The soul-devouring monument happened to see this scene, and immediately on a whim, he approached Yu and Dazhi. Boy, are you interested in raising a monster to guard the door for you? Yu and Dazhi was cooking and was stunned when he heard this question. Raising a monster? What's wrong? Is there any monster nearby that I can raise? There shouldn't be any monsters in the town, right? It's the dog in your house. Do you want it to become a big monster that can speak? That way it won't be lonely, right? Yu and Dazhi thought about it, and it seemed like a good idea. At least it would be more useful in guarding the door. And they might get into a lot of trouble in the future. If they let an ordinary dog guard the door, it would be more dangerous. Then tell me, how can I train it into a big monster? Old Man Ling cleared his throat, a little proud. After all, he is an expert in this area. First, we need to improve its intelligence and let it speak. Animals without sufficient intelligence cannot practice. Okay, you don't need to say anything. Dabe has already died at this step. Yu and Dazi continued to pick up the kitchen knife and began to deal with the potatoes and carrots on the chopping board. Wait a minute, the awakening step is easy to do. I'll teach you the method. The soul-devouring monument finally got anxious. It finally saw a pretty good seedling, and if it cultivates successfully, it will become a real big demon in the future. Forget it, just pretend I didn't say anything just now. This change of words caught Yu and Dazi off guard. He originally thought that Ling Feng wanted to let the demon race reappear in the world. What's wrong? What made you change your mind suddenly? The soul-devouring monument kept silent about this. No matter how he asked, he said that he would tell him after Yu and Dazi was promoted to a magician. Helplessly, Yu and Dazi had to continue making curry, which was related to his dinner. More than half an hour later, he brought out 2 plates of hot curry rice and asked Zyashin to come in for dinner. By the way, will it have any impact if we parents don't go to the educational internship tomorrow? It's not a big problem. After all, besides us, there are some parents who won't go for various reasons. Yu and Dazi tasted the curry and found that the taste was a bit bland. He couldn't help but shook his head in disappointment. There are still not enough curry cubes at home, otherwise it would taste better. Chumushin silently glanced at my large curry rice that was equivalent to 2 of his and buried his head silently. He felt that this time the bland taste was not caused by the lack of curry cubes at home. Chapter 341 Educational Internship. After Yu and Dazi barely finished the big plate of curry rice, he covered his still empty stomach and went to the yard to play games with Dabe. Now ordinary food was not enough to satisfy his hunger. It would be digested after a while. He needed food with higher energy. The next morning, Nobita was still sighing in his quilt. Why is my fate so tragic? It's all because of the hateful Dekisugi. The Reman saw that he was in such a bad state. After all, he had to teach the trainee today. Nobita, stop making trouble. If you continue like this, you will definitely be scolded by the teacher and your mother later. Think about it, you finally got such a good score in this exam. How can you let your mother feel that you got 0 points? Nobita stuck his head out of the quilt. But, I just can't be happy no matter what. Doraemon sighed and reached his chubby hands into his treasure bag again. If you really can't be happy, then use this. But I advise you to think clearly. Doraemon took out a single-sided earphone and handed it to Nobita, letting him make his own decision. Nobita asked curiously, what is this? What is its effect? This earphone is called a joke earphone. As long as you wear it, everything you hear will become a joke. Looking at this pair of headphones, Nobita suddenly had an urge to wear it. If you hear so many jokes, you won't be sad anymore, right? So Nobita put on the joke headphones, wanting to see if his miserable world would change because of this prop. Okay, Nobita, there's not much time left, and you should get ready to go. The blue fat man was originally reminding Nobita seriously, but Nobita suddenly covered his stomach and laughed. Haha, what did you say, there's not much time left? Don't tease me like that, okay? The blue fat man looked helpless. This is the worst part of this prop. No matter what tragic or important news you hear, you can't help laughing. When Nobita was almost exhausted from laughing, he barely got up from the ground and began to take deep breaths to calm himself down. Isn't this great? As long as I have this pair of headphones, my life will not be sad. It's perfect. Nobita put on the joke headphones and jumped out of the house. Nobita's mother was changing clothes in the room. Today, she had to meet the parents of other classmates and couldn't lose face. Chumushin also specially picked out a new dress bought during the new year. After all, there were so many parents here, so he should make himself look good. Yu and Daisy was worried about a pile of clothes, not knowing what to do. Which one of these two sets of clothes should I choose? I'm not used to having so many people standing behind me all of a sudden. Because his seat has always been in the last row, all the parents were basically in close contact with me during this educational internship. Zyadishin was getting impatient waiting downstairs, so he came up and picked out a set for him at random. It doesn't matter what you wear. Anyway, those parents are not looking at you. After saying that, Chumushin stuffed the clothes into his hand. I'll give you 3 minutes to change clothes. Can you be quick? Looking at the clothes in his hand, Yu and Daisy threw it away casually. Forget it, let the dark star cloak help. The grey cloak appeared on his body and gradually began to change into clothes that he thought were suitable for its owner. After a while, Yu and Daisy lifted his long skirt and said, well, have you read too many fairy tales recently? Why did you make me look like a witch? I'm a magician, not a witch. After saying that, the cloak immediately turned into a magic robe, and a pointed cylindrical hat appeared on his head. Hey, I didn't say I wanted a magician's outfit. Hurry up and make me a better looking outfit. The Dark Star Cloak said that this owner was really troublesome. So he made a diamond studded robe for Yu and Dazhi and attached a golden red crown. Why is it the Emperor's suit again this time? Forget it, just change it according to that set of clothes. Yu and Dazhi helplessly pointed at the set of clothes that Chumushan took out and let it end the meaningless fashion show. The Dark Star Cloak finally couldn't help it and made the Emperor's new clothes on Yu and Dazhi. The breeze blew and he felt the chill coming from his body. He couldn't help but look at his clothes and his mind went blank. Finally, he picked up the clothes helplessly. Dark Star Cloak, this time I'll be tough on you. Remember this. Zyadishin had been waiting downstairs for a long time. After I came down, he immediately opened the door. You finally changed your clothes. Hurry up and leave, you'll be late. Yu and as he looked at his watch, why are you in such a hurry? There is still nearly an hour before class. Turning a corner, they found that there were more students than usual at this time of day. Demishin looked at his watch. Why did these people get up so early today? Normally, they should be about 10 minutes later to get here. Daisy yawned. It's because of the education internship. Otherwise, do you think these people would get up? In this way, they came all the way to the school. Finally, the two of them were not the first to arrive in the class, but Shizuka. After the three met, they greeted each other casually and then returned to their seats to do their own things. Not long after, Tsuneo Shiyuma and Tsuneo Shiyumi also came to the classroom and greeted them. Then the other students came to the classroom one by one, and they gathered 10 minutes before class. It was rare that everyone was not noisy this morning, so that I was happy to finish reading all the content that I had learned some time ago. Soon, the teacher came to the classroom at the sound of the class bell, holding a stack of papers that had been graded. He dressed up carefully for today's education internship, and he must show his best appearance in front of the parents. At this time, all the parents entered the classroom and stood in the blank space behind Yu and Ashi. There were dozens of adults behind him, all looking forward eagerly, and Yu and Ashi was also under great pressure. The teacher was also under great pressure, so he decided to call out a name to relieve it. Anyway, everyone was here today, and there would be no unexpected situations. Then let's call out a name first. Everyone remember to raise your hand to answer. The first one is Gotada Takashi. Fat Tiger raised his hand to indicate that he was here, and Nobita suddenly covered his mouth. Because of the joke headphones, things that were not funny originally made him want to laugh. No, if this headset is here, I will definitely die miserably today. Thinking of this, Nobita quietly reached out his hand to take the headset out of his ear. Many parents noticed this little action, but they didn't pay too much attention to it. It's just that the ear suddenly itched. It's normal. But Nobita noticed the gaze behind him, and he felt very embarrassed and wanted to take the headset out quickly. But because he was anxious, his fingers accidentally poked inside, and the headset was stuck deep in the ear and couldn't be taken out. When the teacher read the third name, Nobita bit his hand, and a sadness gradually came from his eyes. Help, I can't bear it anymore. Chapter 342 Rejection. The teacher still ruthlessly read out the students' names. Next student, Yu and Ashi. Just as he was about to raise his hand, Nobita in front of him suddenly laughed. Haha. Yu and Ashi's name is so funny. The students present suddenly quieted down, and everyone was waiting to see how Yu and Ashi would deal with it. Is this guy tired of living? Even if I don't settle accounts with him later, his mother will not let him go. While staring at him, Ashi clenched his fist and raised his hand. Here. Nobita was shocked and knew that his situation was very bad, but he really couldn't help laughing again. The mother in the back looked at Nobita and felt very embarrassed. There was a discussion in the back. That's Mrs. Nobita's child, right? How can you laugh at this time? It's so rude. Yes, and I heard that the child often gets 0 points in exams. Let my children play with him less in the future. Hearing other women being gossipy, Nobita Tamako felt the temperature on her face rising rapidly. It was too much. What a kid. How could he embarrass me at a time like this? It seems that I'm too gentle to him normally. Fire gradually emerged from her body, and her aura began to rise steadily, making others afraid to approach. Nobita felt the murderous intent coming from behind him. He knew that he could go to erect a monument today, otherwise he might not have time later. The teacher also felt very embarrassed. He was just calling the roll, but he kept laughing below. If he had known that Nobita would deliberately make trouble, he would definitely skip the roll call. After calling the roll, the teacher also quietly breathed a sigh of relief and picked up the test paper next to him. Okay, there are 23 students in the class today. Not one is missing. Now let's hand out the papers. Ha ha ha. The teacher actually said that he would hand out the papers to us. No, I didn't mean it. This time, Nobita's laughter was very loud, and basically everyone present was attracted to it. Because he had been holding back when calling the roll just now, he couldn't stop laughing after all of it was released. Everyone looked at Nobita, who was laughing alone in the classroom, and the scene became strangely silent. When he finally stopped laughing, he also found that the atmosphere was very wrong. Teacher, listen to me. I really didn't mean it. It's just. The teacher lowered his head and pointed at the door with his left hand to interrupt him. Don't say anything. If you don't want to go to class, just go out. Seeing the teacher's look, Nobita knew that he was going to get angry, so it would be better to do what he said. After walking out of the door, he stood quietly outside the door and began to think about what he had experienced in the past few days. On Monday, he was stuffed with a lot of bread, and on Tuesday, he was disliked by Shizuka because of serving grass. Today, Wednesday, he was kicked out by the teacher in front of many parents, and all his face was gone. He could barely hold on in the classroom, but when he was alone here, he finally couldn't help laughing out loud. Haha, the tone of the teacher when he asked me to leave just now was so funny. I'm dying of laughter. At this time, Nobita Mako walked out of the classroom with a gloomy face, looking at this disappointing son. Nobita, I thought you would reflect on yourself, but now it seems that I'm too naive. Nobita stopped laughing, and the fear of the future finally overwhelmed the joke headphones, making him return to normal. No, Mom, listen to my explanation. I really didn't mean it. His mother stretched out her hand to block between them, signaling Nobita that he didn't need to explain these meaningless things. No need to say, starting tomorrow I will ask someone to tutor you in your studies and the etiquette that you must learn in life. After saying that, Nobita Mako did not give Nobita a chance to argue, and returned to the classroom to wait for Nobita's results. Because the teacher was handing out the papers, she couldn't leave for too long. At least she would not leave the classroom too far before hearing the results of her son's 2 subjects. The teacher finally picked up his test paper. Nobita, your math score is 38 points, which is a certain improvement in this exam. Compared to the previous time when you and Daisy didn't give him extra lessons, he often got 0 points, which is indeed an improvement. Nobita Mako set her sights on Yu and Daisy and Dekisu, and planned to choose one of them to go back. If it's just about good grades, then both of them are fine. But if you also need etiquette, it should be better to choose Dekisu, right? Because in the previous housewives gatherings, he knew more about Dekisu. And most of these things were not said by Dekisu's mother, but by her neighbors and friends. Among the people he knew, basically everyone praised Dekisu, whether in study or in life. Although Yu and Daisy had good grades and was a good person, she didn't know why, but she always felt that he was inferior to Dekisu. After all, in the housewives gatherings, many people praised Dekisu, but few people would praise Yu and Daisy. Thinking of this, Nobita Mako made up her mind and chose Izuki-san as the tutor. San didn't know that he had been thought of, and he was still listening to the class attentively. When the class for the day was over, Nobita Mako immediately stopped San and discussed things with him. When San heard about this, he touched his head and asked curiously, Aunt Nobi, do you want me to tutor Nobita? Why? She sighed helplessly. It's because the child's grades are not good, and from today's performance, he doesn't even have basic etiquette. Now, whenever she thinks of what happened just now, her face still gets hot. It's really too embarrassing. I remember that Yu and Daisy was his tutor before. Why don't you choose Daisy to go back? San didn't plan to agree to this, because this job is not easy to do. Some time ago, he also heard how difficult it was to tutor Nobita. For example, he can calculate a simple 28 plus 36 4 times, and he still hasn't calculated it correctly. Besides, if he takes this order, Daisy will definitely be a little disgusted. He was the one who arrived first, but you abandoned the diligent Yu and Daisy, which will definitely make people feel disappointed. Nobita Mako looked at him seriously, because compared to Yu and Daisy, I think you are more suitable to teach him the etiquette of life. Dekizan still shook his head and refused. Sorry, for some reasons, I really can't accept this job. Nobita Mako had to give up Dekizan, and found Yu and Daisy next to him, hoping to let him go back. But Yu and Daisy was faster. I'm sorry, auntie, I don't want to go back to teach him now. And I'm very busy recently, and don't have time. She saw that she was rejected before she had time to speak, and her heart was empty. But she still had to keep smiling. Okay, if you change your mind, you can contact me. I welcome you back anytime. Nobita Mako turned around and pulled up Nobita, who was still laughing beside her, and dragged him home. Seeing that both of them had left, Zyadishan walked to Yu and Daisy and asked him, why do you suddenly don't want to go back? I remember that you were not very happy to go back to teach him last time. What made you change your mind? Chapter 343 Doraemon's misstep. The reason is very simple. First, I'm not short of money right now. But the main reason is that she actually came to you first. Yu and Daisy looked at Nobita Mako's back as she walked away, still feeling a little indignant in his heart. I'm obviously Nobita's first teacher, but she chose you in front of me. I'm really upset. He was the one who had been tutoring Nobita. It was because of him that Nobita did not get a 0 on the test this time, and others still despised him. Why should he go back to suffer? because of the salary that he no longer cared about. After knowing the other party's reason, Dekishan sighed slightly. Forget it, let's go back. He knew that Yu and Daisy was not to blame for this. After all, the feeling of being betrayed was really uncomfortable. Just like the last time he was stabbed in the face by Yu and Daisy, he was really desperate at that time and felt that his life had become grey. Although the other party's feelings for him were not very deep, it would definitely not be comfortable to be used and dumped. After returning home, the two of them began to check the refrigerator and think about what to cook for dinner today. Zayarshan, there is no dog food and milk at home, and there are no vegetables to eat later. After listening to Yu and Daz's report, Zayarshan took out 2 baskets, one for each of them. You go to the supermarket to buy dog food, milk, salt and curry, and I will go to the farmer's market to get fresh vegetables. After assigning today's work, the two went out together and went their separate ways. Nobita was dragged home by his mother, who then made him sit in the living room and scolded him. Nobita couldn't help laughing many times during this process, and she almost used her fists to educate him. At this time, Doraemon was still smart and found a way to lead his mother away and took off the joke headphones. Nobita was scolded by his mother for 2 hours before she finally let him go. Dejectedly, he picked up his bag and returned to his room, where Doraemon had been waiting for him for a long time. Doraemon, why do you say I'm so miserable? I'm the one who is unlucky every time. Nobita sat next to Doraemon and looked at him quietly. The blue fat man didn't know how to comfort him, so he just let him lean on him. The two of them were silent for a long time, not knowing what to say to each other. Doraemon, thank you. You will always be by my side to accompany me. Half an hour passed like this, and Doraemon saw that he was in a better mood, so he called him to get up. Nobita, it's almost time for you to get up and do your homework, otherwise you will be scolded again tomorrow. This time Nobita was unexpectedly obedient, walked to his seat, and started to do his homework. Doraemon looked at him from behind, and a smile appeared on his face unconsciously. If Nobita can be so worry-free in the future, then he can also be at ease when he returns to the future, right? Although I don't know how long it will take for the sad farewell to come, but there will definitely be a day when they will separate. Even without Shiksyu's order, I can't always be with him. Nobita will learn to face life on his own one day. When Yu and Daisy came home after shopping, Deki was still outside buying vegetables. After putting the food he bought away, Yu and Daisy took the dog food and went to the doghouse outside. Dabe, it's time to eat. Don't stay in there. I'll take you out for a walk after you finish eating. They usually treat this dog a little badly, so they have to play with it now while they have time. Dabe ran to the food bowl and waited for Yu and Daisy to fill it up before he started eating. Are you full? If you are, let's go. I haven't walked the dog for a long time. After tying the dog leash to his hand, Daisy took Dabe to walk around the street for a few laps to let it exercise. When they walked to the park, he found a long chair to sit down and looked at the sun in the sky comfortably. It would be great if life could always be so comfortable. After lying down for a while, Yu and Daisy returned home and settled Dabe. The two of them had dinner together and then studied or practiced. Nobita was hit too hard on Thursday and Friday, and he was always in low spirits. Yu and Daisy was too lazy to talk to him about the last time. After all, there was not enough time to practice magic now. Just when they were planning to take a break on Saturday, Doraemon suddenly found them. Yuan, Izuki, I have something I want to ask you for help. Daisy walked over. Just say it. Don't hang around outside my window, okay? The blue fat man touched his head embarrassedly. Then I'll wait for you at our door. Watching Doraemon disappear into the sky, Daisy looked at Zayarshan and asked if he was going. He closed the book. Let's go and see what difficult problem he encountered. Not long after, everyone was basically called over by Doraemon to help Nobita. He landed in front of us and put the bamboo dragonfly into his treasure bag. It's like this. Some time ago, I lent Nobita a prop. I wanted to encourage him to be diligent, but I didn't expect that he has become even lazier now. Doraemon sighed helplessly, so I want you to give him a hand and let him not sink into my props, okay? Hearing that it was such a righteous thing, everyone present agreed in unison. Of course, no problem. A group of 6 people came to Nobita's room in a mighty manner. Nobita was still observing the screen. Seeing that all his friends had come in, Nobita immediately stood up to greet them. Welcome, welcome. Since Doraemon has called you all here, let's share it together. Following Nobita's hand, they saw the picture displayed on the screen and asked curiously, what is this? A documentary about the life of ants. It looks like an animated version. Looking at this strange picture, Yu and Azzy actually had a very harmonious feeling. This is called the Anytime, Anywhere Observation Machine. It's showing the internal structure of an ant nest in our yard. As for why it looks like an animated version, the specific reason is this button. Nobita pointed to the button on the side of the machine. This thing can process the images sent back, making them look less scary. Looking at this underground building that they had never seen before, everyone was full of curiosity and gathered around the machine to point and talk. Doraemon covered his forehead. What a mistake. I wanted to brainwash Nobita, but he actually brainwashed me. Shizuka pointed to a small cave. Nobita, can I see this place? Nobita stretched out his hand and pointed at the small room. Of course, no problem. As soon as the voice fell, the camera began to zoom in on the place where his finger touched. The ants inside are storing food so that their babies will have food to eat as soon as they are born. After almost getting ready, an ant left the cave from the passage and headed to the ground. Seeing that an ant had left, Shizuka felt a little anxious. Can we follow that ant? I want to see what he's going to do. Nobita nodded and once again reached out his hand and tapped the ant's body, and the camera began to follow the ant's movement. It went up and communicated with the guard on the ground with its antennae, and then the two swapped jobs, and he began to guard the house on the ground. Looking at the ant's naive appearance, Shizuka clapped her hands and laughed. Wow, I never thought that a little ant could be so cute. Chapter 344 Natural Relationship. Gian and Azzy was also watching them with interest. There was indeed a lot of knowledge and fun to be discovered here. Doraemon saw that even Yu and Azzy and Dekisugi, two top students, were so focused and knew that his battle had failed. Since he couldn't stop Nobita and the others from liking this, he would accompany them to watch it. It was better than him sleeping at home all day long. In the end, Doraemon had to join the ranks of observing ants with this idea. It was really boring to watch this ant guarding its home, so Nobita adjusted the screen and changed an ant to observe. So the camera on the screen changed again. An ant was about to go out for food and walked a long way without knowing it. Finally, he stopped in a forest of grass and began to look around. Others couldn't help but worry. It looks like this. Could it be that it can't find its way home? Don't worry, the situation you said won't happen. Seeing that everyone was worried, Zion had to popularize this basic knowledge for them. When ants go out to forage, they secrete a substance called a signpost pheromone as they go. When they find food, they can use this signpost pheromone to navigate, whether they are calling their companions or going back. After hearing that the ants would not get lost, everyone continued to watch how the ants foraged. Soon, the ants found a target and climbed up along the stem of the plant. As the camera changed, they finally saw the creatures on the leaves of the plant, which was the purpose of the ants' trip. Everyone, look, is this a baby of that kind of insect? Why is it crying all the time? Zion also shook her head. I'm not very clear about this. After all, I don't have an illustration of this. The ant stepped forward and gently touched the baby with its antennae, and then began to call its companions with its antennae. A few minutes later, two more ants came over, and the three of them worked together to lift the baby up. Soon, this group of animals went down the stem to the ground and began to head towards the ant nest. Shizuka was a little worried. They want to take this baby back to the nest, but why do they do this? Everyone began to think about this problem, and then everyone thought of the most likely direction to go. Nobita screamed, are they going to take this lava back and have a good meal? Others also thought of this, but they were unwilling to face this cruel reality. Suddenly, a slap was slapped on Nobita's head. Don't talk nonsense if you don't understand anything. It's really embarrassing. Nobita covered his head and felt very wronged. Everyone looked at Yu and Azzy, who pointed at the little bug and said, this is the larva of the black gray butterfly. Do you understand? Others looked confused, but Isaac-san remembered a little story he had read in a book. He immediately realized, if this is a black butterfly, then we really don't have to worry about its safety. After remembering the information about the black butterfly, Zayanshin was completely relieved. The black butterfly and the ants have mutually beneficial symbiotic relationship. The ants will find a way to raise the black butterfly until the black butterfly can fly. And this larvae, in order to repay the other party's nurturing grace, will secrete a liquid for the ants to suck. So they took this larvae back not to eat it, but to help it survive. The others finally understood the process, but they were still a little worried. So everyone continued to observe the movements of the ants to see if they were going to eat it. And Nobita looked at it innocently, saying, "Just say it, why do you hit me for no reason?" The ants moved the larvae back to the nest, then took out a bottle and put it to the larvae's mouth and began to feed it. It turns out that they really can live in harmony. The relationship in nature is really wonderful. Looking at this harmonious picture, Shizuka laughed from the bottom of her heart. Zayanshin also nodded in agreement. Yes, the natural world is vast, and there are many magical and unknown foods that we need to explore. And Gian, as his eyes never left the milk bottle. Where did this thing come from? Although the images sent back were processed by the system, it still felt strange to have an extra milk bottle in the ant nest. Since they will live together in harmony, then we don't have to worry about them anymore, right? Dakshin looked at the picture on the screen and said his thoughts happily. And as he shook his head, whether they can live together harmoniously or not, we don't have to worry about it. In nature, organisms have their own laws, and predators and prey are already determined. Whether the bug will be eaten by them or not, it just exists in this world in a different way. Why do you interfere with them and interfere with the natural law that has been formed for hundreds of millions of years? Can you interfere with this natural food chain law as the creator? Nobita stood up angrily. How can you be so cold-blooded? Are you going to watch this cute little creature being eaten mercilessly? Looking at the angry Nobita, and as he chuckled, asked Doraemon for a random door and adjusted the coordinates to the African savannah. After opening the door, a lion just pounced on a stag and was about to bite it to death. Suddenly it saw a door appear in front of it, and it was so scared that it even forgot to eat. And as he pointed at the deer and said, "Okay, now there is an innocent and lovely deer in front of you that is about to be bitten to death. Do you want to save it?" Dakshin looked at the deer that was thrown to the ground and wanted to say that he would go and rush over to save the deer. But he knew very well that he didn't have the ability to do so. Seeing that his legs were trembling, as he knew that he was so scared that he couldn't move. The lion saw that there seemed to be more delicious food inside, so he put down the deer and rushed towards them. And as he was faster, and when the lion rushed in front of everyone, he reached out and grabbed its neck. "Okay, now another lion is about to be killed. Do you want to plead for it?" After saying that, and as he deliberately closed the door, leaving the lion in the same room with everyone present. Everyone was so scared that they shrank back a few steps, shaking their heads to express their refusal. What a joke. Put the lion back quickly. Compared to being eaten by this terrifying creature, they would rather the lion be killed. And as he opened the door again and released the lion back to the African grasslands, then closed the door and looked at the silent crowd. Nature has always been cruel. Survival of the fittest. How did everyone get through this? What right do you have to deprive them of their right to eat? It's just that you are not the one whose interests are harmed. There was once a story that a hunter killed all the wolves in the forest to protect the deer in the forest from being eaten by wolves. But later, after the deer had no natural enemies, they reproduced wildly until they ate up the entire mountain and then starved to death together. This is a relationship of nature. Eating and being eaten are both part of nature. Life and death are always a dynamic balance. Human interference is not needed, understand? After saying this, and as he yawned and left the small house, Chumushin did not follow him this time, but he did not stop him from talking about these things. Finally came out. And as he yawned, "You'd better go and order the cake quickly, otherwise you really won't be able to catch up with Chumushin's birthday." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 345. Another baseball game. While Izuki and the others were still watching the ants inside, Yu and Dazi had already come to the street to find the cake shop. According to the range sensed by his detection technique, there was only one shop that could make custom cakes. Is that the only shop that can make cakes? It seems that there is really no choice. He used the detection technique to find the best way to the cake shop and turned 90 degrees to walk towards the destination. Just a few minutes later, he appeared in front of the door of the cake shop. "Welcome, little boy. Do you want to buy cakes to take back? Which kind do you want?" The clerks surrounded him enthusiastically because children like him usually have their parents ask them to buy some snacks and the like. At this time, the three types of gifts, entertaining guests and eating by yourself, should be separated, and the clerks are needed to help choose. "I want to make a custom birthday cake for 5 people. No, about 8 people. Originally, he only planned to eat it for his family, but Zyadishan might invite people at that time, so he bought a little more insurance. Anyway, money is not a problem now, and the extra part is just right for him to make dessert after dinner." The clerk was a little surprised. "Little boy, you came here alone to order a birthday cake? For whom?" "It's for a friend of mine." "Where can I choose the style of cake?" Yu and Dazi didn't want to spend more time here. "It's just a custom cake, so it doesn't take too much time." "Okay, please follow me. All the styles of cakes are here." The clerk took me to a glass counter filled with various cakes. In the end, Yu and Dazi picked a cake with the most fruits and less cream, because he thought Chumushin would like this style. She wrote down the style and price, and continued to ask Dazi, "When is your friend's birthday?" "Next Monday. I will come to pick up the cake at 4 o'clock that afternoon. Here is the money for the cake." After that, Yu and Dazi handed her a 10,000 yuan bill, and waited for her to give him the change. "This is the change of 4,712 yuan. Remember to keep it safe, kid, don't lose it on the way." The clerk was a little caring, and she touched Yu and Dazi's head all the way, and sent him out. "Okay, the big things for this week are finally done. Now let's go home and enjoy a nice nap time." Just as I walked to the door of my house, I saw Zyadishan walking out of the door in a baseball uniform. "What's wrong? Does Fat Tiger's baseball team that always loses have another game tomorrow?" Zyadishan spread his hands helplessly. "Yes. Fat Tiger called me over to save the situation, and we need to practice this afternoon. Do you want to come?" "Okay, then, go for it yourself. I want to take a nap today and go over to watch the game later." After saying that, he walked into the room. Sitting on the bed and thinking about this, Yu and Dazi still felt a little regretful. "I also want to play baseball, but I'm afraid I can't play baseball now. With my strength, how can it be possible?" Yu and Dazi is too strong now. If he touches the baseball a little, he doesn't know how far it will fly. Compensating the ball is still a small matter, but accidentally hurting someone is a serious problem. He lifted the blanket. Forget it, who cares about it? It's more important to go to bed quickly. It's a long-awaited nap. The next afternoon, Dazi and Zyadishan came to the agreed competition venue together. Looking at this familiar baseball field by the river, Dazi Yuan's heart suddenly surged with old memories. "I remember that, when I first came here to watch the game, I lost a week's worth of snacks. So much time has passed without me noticing." He sat in his seat and suddenly missed those times in the past. "Oh, Yuan classmate came so early, it's really surprising." The voices of Tsuneyoshi and his sister came from behind him, almost scaring him to jump. He turned his head quickly, and Tsuneyoshi, Yuma and the others were behind him, looking at the field below with a smile. In addition to them, many classmates were approaching. Suddenly, a bad premonition filled his body, so Yu and Dazi went to Zyadishan and said, "Yinkei, you guys won't bet with other teams again this time, and the loser will have to hand in snacks, right?" Zyadishan nodded. "Yes, this is a friendly match that we have every time the school starts." Yu and Dazi looked around, and he didn't care who he saw, but he must not see that guide action. Soon, Yu and Dazi hummed a little song on the stage. "I don't want to be involved in right and wrong, but I didn't expect that things would go against my wishes." While humming, his figure gradually disappeared from the stands and floated away. Dakshin was on his way, and he suddenly lost consciousness while walking, and then even his body disappeared. Not long after, Yu and Daz's figure appeared again on the baseball field by the river. Fat Tiger was getting impatient. Damn it, it's already this time, why hasn't Nobita come yet? Nobita said he had something urgent to do today, so he asked me to play baseball for him this time. Everyone turned around and saw Yu and Dazi standing behind them in a white baseball uniform with a baseball bat in his hand. He sighed helplessly in his heart. I didn't want to come here, but for my snacks for the next week, I can only play in person. Seeing that there were not many people who could play now, since Yu and Dazi was here, then let him come. Although I haven't seen him play baseball very often, at most he is at the same level as Nobita. These people, including Nobita, are mentally prepared to win without doing anything, so would they be afraid of a mere Yu and Dazi? Well, since it's your turn, then play well. Your number is number 7, don't make a mistake. Fat Tiger patted him on the shoulder, then walked to the front of the team and faced the captain on the opposite side. You have a new player, aren't you afraid of being beaten by us? The captain of the other team saw Yu and Dazi playing baseball for the first time, so he couldn't help but look down on him. They valued the squad leader Chumushin the most because he often led the Fat Tiger team to a comeback and was an enemy that should not be underestimated. HMPH, stop talking nonsense. If you have the ability to beat us, then come on. Fat Tiger was as imposing as others, and then shook hands with the captain of the other team on behalf of the team to express friendship. The pre-match etiquette was ready, and everyone quickly went to their respective positions. Yu and Dazi went to the back as a fielder. They were the first to defend, and the first pitcher to appear was Fat Tiger. He threw the ball between his hands a few times. I must give them a warning. So Fat Tiger began to accumulate strength and threw a fast ball with all his strength. The opponent knew how powerful he was, so he also lifted his strongest man in the first round. He held the baseball bat and watched Fat Tiger's every move with full concentration. Left corner ball. Thinking of this, he swung with all his strength. Strike. Home run. The baseball flew towards the fielder at a faster speed. Everyone else was anxious and told the fielders to catch the ball quickly, otherwise the opponent would reach first base. Just when everyone thought the opponent was going to reach first base safely, a man suddenly jumped nearly 2 meters high and caught the ball. Seeing this scene, Fat Tiger breathed a sigh of relief as his small mistake was finally made up by others. Chapter 346 Birthday Preparation. After Yu and Dazhi landed, he used all his strength to pass the ball to Dekisugi over there, allowing him to successfully block the opponent's first player. The opponent's batter left there dejected, while Fat Tiger was so happy that he almost jumped up. Very good. Yu and Dazhi is indeed much more reliable than Nobita. Now let's keep this momentum and defeat them in one go. Then, Fat Tiger eliminated one, and Yu and Dazhi blocked another one, and the opponent failed to score a point in the offensive round. Soon the offense and defense rotated, and Fat Tiger was still the first batter out. The captain of the opponent was not to be outdone, and he threw a fastball like Fat Tiger. Looking at the phantom flying in the air, Fat Tiger snorted coldly. With the speed of fastball, you want to eliminate me? It's really naive. With a home run, Fat Tiger safely reached first base. The opponent didn't have a cheat like Yu and Dazhi, so it was naturally impossible to easily block Fat Tiger. Next was Sunya. Although he didn't hit a home run, he didn't get struck out either, and entered first base. Then, Haruo was struck out, which made them feel a little disappointed. However, they had already scored points in this round, which was a good start, and everyone was very satisfied. In this way, Yu and Dazhi served as a fielder for 6 rounds, and it was not until the 3rd round that it was his turn to play. Because the opponent's pitcher did not look very strong, Yu and Dazhi did not take it seriously. What bothered him more was how much strength he should use. Just as Yu and Dazhi was thinking, the pitcher on the opposite side threw the first ball to him. The speed of the ball was not very fast, but he hesitated when swinging the bat because he did not know whether the strength he used was appropriate. At this critical moment of playing baseball, any hesitation is fatal. The first ball slipped from under Yu and Daz's bat and landed on the glove of the person behind him, making the opponent happy for a while. Great, it turns out that guy can only catch the ball, but not hit the ball. Let's strike him out quickly. Their fighting spirit was high, and they planned to make a concerted effort. Yu and Daz ignored the rumors and continued to calculate his strength. After clenching his fist and making sure that he used the right amount of strength, he picked up the baseball bat again. The opponent's pitcher threw the ball a little faster than the last time, but this time, Yu and Daisy didn't hesitate and hit the baseball with his bat. Then he walked leisurely to first base, because I was sure that they would not be able to pick it up. Sure enough, when he walked to first base and sat down to rest for a while, someone came back panting. Next was Dekisugi, who also played at his normal level and hit another home run. Finally, it was Yamaguchi-san, who was extremely lucky and hit another home run. The three of them returned to home base with the score, and their team made a lot of money in this round. Yu and Daisy yawned and returned to the fielder position again. In the 7th round, it was his turn to pitch, and the person holding the glove behind the opponent was Dekisugi. This was for safety reasons, otherwise someone would be in trouble. Yu and Daisy looked at him and asked, "Can you do it?" "I'll try my best later." Zyadishan looked at him and replied, "No problem, just come on." The opposing batter knocked his baseball bat on the ground, concentrating on watching every move of the pitcher, and then he seemed to see 3 white lights flashing by his side. Was he struck out? He walked off the field with lifeless eyes. What happened just now? How did I get struck out? The next 2 batters were similar, and they couldn't see the ball thrown by Yu and Daisy at all. In the end, this time we won the game with a huge advantage of 21-10. Yu and Daisy was very happy. After all, he would have double snacks to eat for a while. Yu and Daisy came to school early the next morning and began to look forward to the end of school today. After all, today is Izuki-shan's birthday, and he specially ordered a cake. However, Nobita has not shown any signs of being late recently, which made him look at him with a new look. The teacher soon came to the podium, put down the book, and prepared to say something. "Our school will hold a welcome party next Wednesday, so please ask classmate Chumushin to organize everyone's rehearsal. This time our class has been selected to perform a drama, so you will have to work hard in the next period of time." The students in the classroom agreed in unison. After all, the welcome party is indeed much more interesting than ordinary classes. Yu and Daisy was spinning a pen in the back, and he was a little interested in this matter. He had thought about going up to perform before, but was always squeezed out by others. If he could perform at the welcome party this time, it would be a good choice. After class, Zyadishan stood up and said, "Students who want to perform at the welcome party, please come and sign up." As soon as he finished speaking, Yu and Daisy communicated with him through mental power and asked Chumushin to write his name. The ones who were more enthusiastic about this kind of thing were the few people they were familiar with, Nobita. The rest of the people were either extras or were not interested in this kind of thing like Tsuneyoshi and his sister. After the welcome party was finalized, there was nothing big to do during school. After school, Yu and Daisuke and Imushan parted ways. "You go back first. I have something to do today." Imushan did not ask too much about what the matter was, but just told him to go with peace of mind. Hearing this, Yu and Daisuke was stunned for 2 seconds. Was he cursing me with that sentence just now? It must be. When I arrived at the cake shop, the clerk had been waiting for me there for a long time. "Little boy, you are alone again. Aren't you tired of carrying such a big cake?" After meeting, she still touched Yu and Daz's head as usual, which made him unhappy. He is no longer old enough to be touched on the head, okay? She didn't notice that the baby was emotional. She took his hand and led him to the counter to introduce him. "Here, this is the handmade fruit cake you ordered. Be careful on the way back, and don't break it." Yu and Daisy took the cake, thanked him and left quickly. "That clerk is too enthusiastic, isn't he? He almost treats me as his son." After turning a corner, he put the cake into his cloak and walked back home, as if nothing had happened. Izuki is now making parts for super time jump travel, trying to assemble a real device. Seeing how focused he was, Yu and Daisy walked over and took away the things in his hand. "Yinkei, it's your birthday today, don't you want to invite them over to play?" Zyadishan shook her head. Forget it. I never invited them to my previous birthdays, and they didn't ask me either. After a pause, he continued, and you know, they definitely haven't prepared anything now. Seeing that he had no intention of inviting anyone else, Yu and as he turned and left Zyadishan's bedroom, went to the corridor on the first floor, and picked up the phone. Hello, uncle, when are you coming back today? The cake has been bought. Should I wait for you to come and eat it together? The uncle on the other end of the phone looked at the documents in his hand, and finally put it down. I'll be back now, and you can call your aunt to ask when she will be back. I'll hang up first. Chapter 347 Birthday Gift. Listening to the dead tone on the phone, Yu and as he also hung up the phone and complained, this guy's really busy. Then he called his aunt again, and the news he got was that she would be back soon. After confirming that they were about to arrive at the battlefield, Yu and as he first put the cake on the dining table, and then went to the second floor. Junfei, your parents are coming back. Let's go out and buy some vegetables to make dinner. Zyadishan nodded, put her parts in a box, and then followed Yu and as he out. The current farmers market is just the peak time for buying vegetables, and many housewives are busy here. What to cook tonight? Zyadishan looked at so many dishes, but he didn't know what to buy. Yu and as he patted his chest and guaranteed, steak, pork chop, sushi and sashimi, buy whatever you want to eat. Anyway, I'm treating you today. After getting his guarantee, Chumashan was no longer so frugal, and started to buy food. Anyway, he knew very well that there would be no waste with Yu and as he around. Besides, he had swallowed up all the money he had earned some time ago, so this meal would definitely not bankrupt him. Let me see, you bought a few pieces of salmon belly, 4 steaks, snow crabs, and a lot of vegetables. Do we have enough time? After all, his parents would be home soon, and there was not much time left. Zyadishan was very sure. Don't worry. Don't forget, we too are superpowers. After returning home, Yu and as he immediately started cooking rice to prepare sushi, while he first processed the vegetables and snow crabs. After the rice was cooked, they started making sushi again, and finally fried the steaks in time. When the two of them pushed the door open and walked in, Yu and as he and Demushan had just put 4 fried steaks on the table. My lovely little babies, daddy is back now. Dad rushed up and picked up Demushan and Yu and as he, happy birthday, children. And mom walked towards the restaurant. I smelled the fragrance as soon as I walked in. What delicious food did you two make for us? Dad also came to the restaurant with the 2 children in his arms and saw the sumptuous dinner. You two must have put a lot of thought into making such a table of dishes, right? You've worked so hard. Chumashan smiled and shook his head. No, if we work together, it will be done quickly. The mother began to shout. Oh my god, what did you buy? These things are not cheap. Then she pushed her husband with her hand. Remember to give the money to the children later, otherwise they will have no living expenses. The father was about to agree, but Yu and as he refused. No, I still have a little savings to spend now. Chumashan smiled bitterly. Your hundreds of millions in cash, call it a little savings? You are really modest. Dad reached out and rubbed Yu and as head. Didn't I specifically tell you not to tell anyone about our return? Yu and as he spread his hands and said helplessly, I did do what you said, but Junfei guessed it himself, and I couldn't do anything about it. Dad was very happy after hearing this. Really? He is indeed my son, so smart, haha. Mom pulled him to his seat. Okay, let's taste the dishes made by the children. The two of them also sat down, and the family finished the dishes on the table happily. However, after the meal this time, the parents drove the 2 children out of the kitchen. You two have worked hard to cook so many dishes, so let us wash the dishes. After we finish washing the dishes, we will come out to hold a birthday party for Junfei. We were driven out by the adults and walked to the living room and turned on the daily news program. It was very peaceful today, and the broadcaster only talked about some trivial things that happened in daily life. Dad and his friends came out after washing the dishes. Seeing them watching TV, they came over and sat beside them. Nothing serious should happen today. But have you two finished your homework? I don't want to receive a call from the teacher. They turned around and said together. Don't worry, we have finished our homework a long time ago. After the incident in the phone booth, they basically didn't have to worry about homework this semester, except for the homework that required people to sketch. That's good. How are you doing at home? Has anyone bullied you? Both of them said that they usually had a good life at home, so they could go to work without worry. As for whether anyone bullied them, don't worry, they definitely didn't bully others. Very good, then I'm relieved. Dad's work is at a critical stage of development, and it's thanks to you that I can be so worry-free. When my company stabilizes, I can come back every day to accompany you. At this time, the mother also came out wearing an apron and grabbed the father's ear. You guys ran out secretly in the middle of washing dishes, and you don't come back to me. The kitchen still needs you. I know, my wife. Can you let go first? The children are still watching. The henpecked husband was dragged away, leaving the two of them laughing secretly behind. Soon, the two of them cleaned up the kitchen and came out to ask them to eat cake. The mother pointed at the cake and complained, "Dazzy, why did you buy such a big cake? It's a waste if you can't finish it, okay?" And Dazzy waved his hand. "Don't worry, this cake will definitely be eaten, I promise." Dad put 10 red candles on the cake, symbolizing that Zyadishan is 10 years old today. And and Dazzy also assembled the crown that came with the cake and walked over to put it on Chumashan's head. After lighting the candles one by one, everyone turned off the lights and sang a happy birthday song in English for him. Chumashan sat in his seat, clasped his hands together, closed his eyes, and began to make a wish. Then he opened his eyes and blew out all the candles at once. His mother walked over, turned on the lights, took out a plastic knife, and began to cut the cake for them. But each person didn't get much, because they had just eaten a big meal, so they were not very hungry. "Hey Yinkei, what wish did you make just now?" And as he asked with his cake. Chumashan smiled and said, "You can't say it. It won't work if you say it." Seeing that he refused to say it, Dazzy could only stuff the cake into his mouth helplessly. "By the way, Yinkei, this is a birthday gift I bought for you. Take it quickly." Zyadishan's mother smiled and handed over 2 sets of books. And as he leaned over to look at the names of the books, "Archaeological and Historical Discoveries?" This thing really suits Zyadishan's appetite. Then he looked at the second set of books, and then retracted his neck in boredom. Because the name on the second set of books given was Primary School Mathematical Olympiad Collection. Do you know that, if you give this gift in China, it will most likely lead to the severance of relations? Zyadishan's father also took out his own gift from his pocket, which was a stone that looked like a tooth. Chapter 348 The Last Surprise, Somersault Cloud. I dug this stone out of the soil when I was very young. It might be a fossil of some creature. I'm giving it to you now. Dad solemnly placed the fossil in Chumashan's hand. He believed that his child could keep it well. Mom cast her eyes on Yu and Dazzy. "Dazzy, have you prepared any gifts for Yinkei?" Yu and Dazzy nodded. "Of course. How could I not prepare a gift for him at this time?" They were also very curious. "Then take it out and show us what good things you have prepared." Everyone thought that Yu and Dazzy would be happy to show it off, but he refused the request. "No, it's still a secret now." The people present were stunned for a moment, and then they all smiled. Since Yu and Dazzy didn't want to talk about it, there was no need for them to continue to delve into this topic, but started to eat the cake. Since he didn't want to say it now, he should want to give it away separately, and they would not ruin this little surprise. When everyone finished eating their own cake, there was still a large piece on the table that had not been touched, which made the parents feel a little sad. "I've already said that this cake is too big. It's a bit of a waste to buy it." Mom stood up and prepared to put the cake in the refrigerator for them to eat later. But Yu and Dazzy stopped her. "Don't be in a hurry, just give me a few more bites." After that, Dazzy took the cake plate, picked up the fork in his hand, and started to eat crazily. Dad was stunned to see that this big cake didn't last more than 3 minutes under my hands, and couldn't help swallowing his saliva. Then he immediately found his wife. "We need to increase their living expenses. Dazzy is really a big eater." Mom, who also witnessed the whole process, hesitated for a moment, but nodded and agreed. "This guy's too big a eater." After eating the cake, Yu and as he came to the second floor, and Zayashi was using his mental power to study this so-called fossil. Seeing Yu and as he coming up, Zayashi put away the things in his hands. He coughed and cleared his throat. "Now, I'm going to give you that mysterious birthday gift." Chumashin looked at him curiously, wanting to see what gift Yu and Dazi would give him, and why he had to deliberately hide from his parents. A cloud appeared from behind Yu and Dazi, circled around him a few times, and then stopped in his hand. It's this perfect means of transportation, a flying prop, that only exists in myths and legends, the somersault cloud. Chumashin stood up at once. "Isn't this the cloud that Sun Wukong used in the cartoons?" Yu and Dazi nodded. "Of course. Although it's not as powerful as that cloud, it's also very good. How about it? Are you happy?" He nodded happily at first, and then hesitated whether he should accept it. "This thing is very valuable, right? You really gave it to me like this. Don't you regret it?" Yu and Dazi directly put the somersault cloud in his hand. "Don't worry, when have I ever regretted such a thing?" Chumashin did not refuse again, and accepted the somersault cloud. Now he really lacks flying props, because the necklace is not enough for him to keep up with Yu and Dazi. The last time Dazi fought the dark cloud monster, he already knew this shortcoming of his, so he urgently needs to improve his ability. "Okay, now use your mental power to imprint it, and let it recognize its master." Chumashin nodded and imprinted the mental imprint. This new magic device quickly recognized its master, but this time no magic power was fed back to him. Old manling, why didn't magic power feed back to him to strengthen his body this time? Is there something wrong with your refining? Do you even need to ask? Of course I absorbed that part of the energy in advance, because his body can no longer withstand the transformation of magic power. If you insist on doing it your way, I can give him the energy. Anyway, I don't need it. But I have to remind you that, if you really do this, his body is likely to be elementalized by this energy. And as he heard the new word elementalization and hurriedly asked what the soul-devouring monument meant. To put it simply, his body becomes an energy body. As long as there is energy, he will not die. But the problem is that he does not have the ability to replenish elemental energy, so it probably means that he will not live long. Then why can I absorb this magic power recklessly? Ling Feng asked Yu and Dazhi, "Is your physical strength the same as his?" Everyone's physical strength determines the upper limit of the energy he can absorb. Your physical fitness has been improving, so the upper limit of energy is also constantly improving, so you can naturally absorb it recklessly. While they were talking, Zio-shan had already sat on the somersault cloud. Dazhi, "I'll go out and try the somersault cloud first, and I'll be back in a while." After saying that, Yu and Dazhi watched him disappear into the sky, and he also began to practice magic. After Chumushan flew out, his speed gradually reached the limit that his body could bear, so he dared not speed up anymore. At this moment, white clouds gradually surrounded him, forming a protective barrier to protect him from being hurt by the strong wind. After seeing the barrier, Chumushan understood, "Is this function specially added for me? It's really thoughtful." Thinking of this, Chumushan increased his speed again. He wanted to see what the ultimate speed of the somersault cloud was. More than 2 hours later, Chumushan returned to the room again, his face full of excitement. "I can't believe it. I just spent 2 hours to go around the earth." He took the somersault cloud back in his hand, still a little bit unbelievable about the speed just now. It was really too fast. Yu and Dazhi waved his hand. "Don't be so surprised. The speed of the somersault cloud is very fast. But it's still a little worse than Sun Wukong's. After all, it was designed to protect his body, so the direction of the flow of magic power is not concentrated. And he himself has no magic power, so this is the limit it can reach. All navigation depends on the magic power of the somersault cloud. In order to maintain a balance of income and expenditure, it is natural to use it sparingly. If it is specially designed for Yu and Dazhi to use, then the speed can be about 5 times faster." The somersault cloud rubbed against Zio-shan's body and finally melted into his magic necklace, which was regarded as a temporary storage space. Seeing that everything was done, Yu and Dazhi asked, "By the way, we are going to perform the play next Wednesday. Have you thought about what to perform?" This question has been weighing on Zayarshan for the whole day, and he doesn't know what everyone should perform. I haven't thought about it yet. But since you ask this, do you have any ideas about this now? Yu and Dazzy shook his head. I don't. Why don't we go and discuss it with Doraemon tomorrow to see if he has any good scripts? After hearing this suggestion, Demishan thought it should be the most constructive opinion at the moment, and nodded and agreed. The performance was temporarily scheduled, and they also went downstairs to wash and prepare for bed. After all, it was already past 9 o'clock, and if they didn't go to bed, they would be scolded by their parents. When they got up the next morning, their parents had already prepared breakfast for them to eat. After eating, they were ready to leave. Then you two should do your best at home. We'll leave first. After saying goodbye to his parents, Dekisugi returned to the restaurant to eat. After arriving at school, Dekisugi was doing his daily morning preparation as usual, while Daichi was waiting for Nobita. After a long time, Nobita finally arrived in the classroom at the bell, and he was almost late. After the first class, Yu and Daichi went to discuss this matter with Nobita. Nobita, we haven't decided on the script for the stage play we are going to perform yet. Can you see if you can ask Doraemon for help? Nobita nodded. No problem. I'm happy to help with this kind of thing. What kind of help do you want? I'll go and tell him. Chapter 349 Performance Script. And as he thought about it and realized that their main problem now was that they had no scripts and everything else was secondary. So he said to him, the main thing is to select props for the script. If you can rehearse at the same time, it would be better. After knowing their needs, Nobita took a piece of paper and wrote it down. I know. I'll tell him when I get back. After saying that, it was almost time for class, so Yu and Dazzy returned to his seat. After school, Nobita was the first to find the actors. I will call you after Doraemon arranges things. Don't leave home casually now. Everyone agreed. After all, having a reason not to help their mother with things is also a pleasure for them. Nobita went home and found the blue fat man, who was looking at a shopping list at the time. Nobita immediately came up to him and said, Doraemon, what's on this list? It looks like it's fun. The blue fat man put the shopping list back into his pocket and said, in a few days, the future department store will have a discount, and these are the products they are promoting. Seeing another discount event, Nobita immediately became interested and sat opposite Doraemon. So are you going to buy some new props? Can you let me play with them after you buy them? Of course, no problem. The blue fat man nodded. As long as you don't violate discipline by being late or not completing your homework these days, I will buy things for you to play with. After deciding on this, Nobita took out his homework book from his backpack and prepared to do his homework. At this moment, a small white note fell out of it. What is this? Nobita picked it up and read it quickly. Then he remembered what he promised Yu and Dazzy during class. By the way, Doraemon, we are going to perform a show at the school welcome party, and Dekisugi and the others need your help. Doraemon took the note, which said that there were props that could help people screen scripts, and agreed. Of course I have such things, but are you going to call them over now? You haven't done your homework yet. Nobita urged him to take it out quickly. It's okay, I'll ask Yu and Daichi or Shizuka to teach me later. Get out the props. Seeing that Nobita was not in the mood to do his homework, Doraemon had to put his hand into his pocket. Let me make a deal first. If you don't finish your homework because of this, I won't care about you. Then the blue fat man took out the props. Automatic action narration drama, universal stage device and script collection 3-in-1 stage combination. He placed the 3 props on the ground, turned on the wireless mode to connect the 3 independent props, and integrated them into one prop. This thing is a magic tool for stage rehearsal. As long as you have it, from script selection to scene arrangement, to actor acting, everything can be done for you. Seeing this luxurious set, Nobita immediately went downstairs to call someone. Soon he finished making 4 calls, and returned to the room, and began to observe how to use these props. Among them, he was most interested in the prop for selecting scripts. Doraemon, what are the conditions for this script collection to select scripts? It will select scripts based on the conditions of the roles that everyone wants to play. Of course, you can also add a little bit of your personal preferences. Nobita heard about personal preferences, and his interest instantly became stronger. If I want to add a little bit of my personal preferences, what should I do? So that's it. The blue fat man put the script collection in front of him. It's very simple. Just press the button on the side. Nobita did not hesitate, stretched out his hand, and pressed the button that Doraemon pointed to. Invisibly, Nobita's preferences had been recorded by the machine. Then he rubbed his hands excitedly. Okay, let's wait here for them to come. What will they perform? It's really exciting. Even he himself didn't know what script would be selected according to his preferences, so he was naturally curious. When Yu and Daisuke and Imashin arrived at Nobita's house, they were studying how to use a stage combination. Nobita, Doraemon, hello. That thing is the prop we are going to use next, right? The two of them nodded. Yes, when everyone else is here, let's start practicing the stage play. Yu and Daisuke walked to the side of the props. He squatted down and looked at the big combination. This time the props are much more luxurious than the last Snow White one. The blue fat man nodded. Of course, I specially updated the props some time ago. It's finally going to be discounted again. I can't miss it. While the two were chatting, Imashin walked to the bookshelf to see if there were any books that he was interested in to kill time. More than 10 minutes later, the other three also came to Nobita's house one after another, waiting for the stage play to begin. Seeing that everyone was already there, Doraemon stood up and walked to everyone's side. Since everyone is here, let's start the rehearsal for this performance. As soon as the voice fell, Zyadishin asked, but we don't even have a script. How should we rehearse? The blue fat man pointed to a lottery machine. Let's use this thing to solve the script problem. Seeing this machine, Nobita smiled and became more and more curious about what the script would be. But no matter what it is, it should be the kind of stage play that Nobita wants to see. Seeing that the scripts were screened by machines, Zyadishin was still a little worried. If this is used for screening, what are its standards? Doraemon thought for a moment before answering him. The standards are set by us. Why not let everyone say what they want to play first? Oh, you can actually choose your own role. That's great. Fat Tiger jumped up happily. I want to play a person with superpowers. Sunir also touched his straight bangs. Then I'll play His Royal Highness the Prince. And as he suddenly interrupted, no, actually I think you would be more suitable to play the Queen. Others also laughed. That's right, the Queen you played last time was so vivid. I don't want to. I tell you, this time I must play the Prince. Sunir folded his hands, very dissatisfied with everyone exposing his scandals. Although the Poison Queen is indeed very suitable for him, he actually has a dream of being a British prince, right? It was Shizuka's turn to talk about her expectations, but she looked a little shy. If possible, I want to play a beautiful princess in the play. Daiji and Zyadishin said at the same time. For the two of us, we can just fill in the gaps. They didn't care much about the roles, as long as they had roles to play. Seeing them discussing so enthusiastically, Nobita just smiled and didn't say anything. Anyway, the scripts were all based on his preferences, so it didn't matter whether he said it or not. After receiving everyone's requests, Doraemon operated the machine with both hands and entered everyone's information. Soon, the word OK appeared on the screen, along with the code B103. Okay, now the most suitable script for everyone has been assembled. Let's take a look. After saying that, the blue fat man took out a large box from his pocket and put it on the ground. They clearly felt that the whole floor seemed to shake. There are all scripts in here, and classic fairy tales and legends from all countries can be found. After briefly introducing the box, Doraemon found B103 according to the classification. Chapter 350, The Drama That Went Wrong. After picking up the most suitable script selected by the prop for him, Doraemon suddenly laughed. It turns out to be this classic fairy tale. It is really suitable to perform at the welcome party. Then he put the script into the machine, and soon, the universal stage device started. Hey Doraemon, we haven't read the script yet, and we don't know the lines. How are we going to perform later? Shizuka's worry is reasonable, and other people have such doubts in their hearts. Don't worry, my machine is fine. Doraemon waved his hand to indicate that she didn't need to worry about this little thing. With this automatic action narration drama, you can perform well, even if you don't know anything. The lights of the universal stage device lit up, and the initial scene of the script began to appear in front of everyone. On the edge of the cliff, a castle stood under the full moon, and below it was the vast sea. Well, it looks beautiful, and there seems to be the sound of waves. Shizuka closed her eyes and began to listen. The sound of the waves was looming, giving her a very peaceful feeling. Because the universal stage device has sound effects, it is normal to hear the sound of the waves. Dekisugi walked to Doraemon's side. Then will our costumes be the same as when we played Snow White before? The blue fat man nodded. Yes, as long as we walk into the stage, the clothes will be changed automatically. In this case, let me, the prince, go up first. Sunia ran into the light with a strange smile, and his clothes turned into a prince's suit. Fat Tiger couldn't sit still. Then I, a person with superpowers, must be very handsome. After saying that, he also jumped into the light, and then a black robe covered his whole body, and a wooden staff appeared in his hand. What kind of costume is this? Hey Doraemon, I'm playing Superman. How can it become like this? The blue fat man spread his hands helplessly. Don't expect it. Now you are indeed playing a person with superpowers, but just a witch. Nobita smiled secretly in the back. This stage play is really to his taste. Then he also jumped into the light, wanting to see what role the script assigned to him. A set of gorgeous princess robes appeared on him, which seemed to match the prince very well. Nobita looked at his clothes. Strange. Why am I wearing a girl's clothes? Stupid. This is the story of the mermaid princess, and your role is that hateful princess of the neighboring country. So of course there are only roles for girls. Shizuka saw the costumes of these people and gradually had a bad feeling in her heart. Deiji and Kozan also walked into the lights, waiting for the final decision of the script. Afterwards, Izuki became a king with a long beard, and Yu and Deiji became a priest presiding over the wedding. TSK didn't expect that the two most handsome of us would become a small role here. He remembered the absolutely correct statistical chart clearly that time. The two of them had the highest appearance, and would not accept any rebuttal. The blue fat man looked at Shizuka. Shizuka, why don't you go in? You are the protagonist here. Shizuka waved her hands repeatedly. This stage play seems to be about a mermaid princess, right? Can we change it? Everyone else looked at her. Why, we think this play is pretty good. Shizuka said embarrassedly. Have you forgotten? Mermaids are usually, The people present remembered that mermaids usually wear shells, or even nothing at all. Nobita blushed and thought, in fact, this is not bad. But then he thought, there are so many people here, wouldn't he be at a loss? So he quickly chose to agree. I also think that the appearance of mermaids is not suitable for children to watch. Let's change the stage play. Others also took Shizuka's feelings into consideration and agreed to her reasonable request. Okay, but I have to explain first. The script I choose may not meet your requirements. Shizuka nodded. No problem. I don't have to play the princess. Sunia felt a little regretful. Really? I still like my costume just now. Others didn't have any opinions. Anyway, it was all decided by the machine, and whatever was drawn was what it was. Doraemon entered the information again and pressed the button to filter the script. Not long after, the tape popped out again. Well, let me see. This time the script is C359, a not so famous fairy tale. The script tape was put into the stage play. A light came on, and the initial scene appeared in front of everyone again. Doraemon, this time it shouldn't be a mermaid story, right? Doraemon nodded. Don't worry, the story this time will not be the same as last time. There will definitely be no mermaids. After getting the blue fat man's assurance, Shizuka walked into the light. In the light, Shizuka gradually became darker, and at the same time, there was a small umbrella in her hand. It looks pretty good. Quite cute. Everyone come in. Let's rehearse. Everyone agreed, and then everyone, except Doraemon, walked into the light. So Zyadishan and the others had a tiger plush suit on their bodies, and Yu and Dazzy had a squirrel plush suit on his body. What's going on? Why is my style completely different from this? Looking at the suit on his body, Yu and Dazzy couldn't help but complain a few words. Fat Tiger came over and patted him on the shoulder and said, "But this is the choice of the machine. There is nothing we can do." Yeah, and as he nodded to show that he understood, "I'm just saying that. Now how should we act?" Shizuka opened her umbrella. "I'll be the first to appear in the first act, so I'll go first." Then she walked to the screen on the stage. "I'm so happy to have this new umbrella." A fat tiger suddenly jumped out from behind. "Wow, you look so delicious. I'm going to eat you." With the help of the automatic action narration, Shizuka made a terrified look and begged for mercy. "Please don't eat me. Can I give you my umbrella?" Fat Tiger took the little pink umbrella and tied it to his tail. "Then I'll let you go this time, but I'll accept this umbrella." Then Fat Tiger imitated the tiger, jumped a few times on the spot, and then jumped away. Just when Shizuka thought she was finally safe, Sunia suddenly jumped out from the bushes behind her and said, "I'm going to eat you, kid." Shizuka had no choice but to say again, "Please don't eat me, okay? Can I give you my shoes?" After saying that, Shizuka handed the shiny leather boots to Sunia, and at the same time, she had a bad feeling in her heart again. Sunia put on the new boots. "I like this pair of shoes very much. I'll let you go this time." As soon as Sunia left, Shizuka had no time to breathe a sigh of relief, and Nobita jumped down from the tree again. "You look really delicious, kid." Nobita drooled as he looked at Shizuka's face. "Why don't you let me eat you now?" Shizuka hurriedly said, "Please don't eat me, okay? I'll give you my clothes." Nobita's face turned red again. This drama performance seemed to be giving him benefits again. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.